No, yes, no.
Do we need headphones?
Yes.
We're not doing headphones?
Yeah.
2, 3,
All right.
4, 5.
Somebody will tell us if we're making weird sounds.
Oh, right. I forgot. We've got the
I'm
taggies
always
now.
making weird sounds.
Right. Everything
is
that
my
comes out of
life.
my mouth.
All right, we are recording, and it's might be live now, but here we go. 1, 2.
Behold! We return with all new people! Mostly. Sort of halfway new people. For all new game.
Nude people?
New.
Oh, wow, that's
Way different.
sounded different.
It's like
Sounded
that public
different.
speaking trick, so you don't get nervous. You just picture the whole
taking them
internet
up and
naked.
I didn't want to have to do that.
No one
Again.
said.
All right, anyway, I am Kadave, and this is Happy Jack's RPG podcast. We are going to be playing Tales from the Loop. And the title for our game, given to me by S.B. Lloyd, one of our always listeners, is Insert Coin. Because my first idea, Arcade Generation, was too long for the graphics. So,
It's a lot of letters.
so here we are. To my left,
Hi, folks. I'm Nick, and I don't know the name of my character yet, but we will find out together.
I'm Jason. I'm going to be playing the jock. So far, that's what I know.
And I'm Samantha. I'm going to be playing a computer geek.
Hey, I'm Mac. I'm going so against type right now, and I'm going to be the weirdo. And she actually already has a name, Margaret Midge Johansson.
All right.
very nice.
Yeah, so just breaking down all the barriers, guys.
You've been watching Marvelous Miss Maisel?
That's totally
Yes.
where I totally stole the name from it. I saw that show and I'm like, I have a game coming up. That's my name now.
I love that.
I haven't gotten to that one yet because I was doing the Crown, the season 2 of the Crown.
Rightfully nominated, too. Nominations just came out for that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Maisel is so good.
I'll get there.
So good.
Yep, I've heard good things about it, but I haven't checked it out yet.
I gotta
Binged.
do. What's the Western?
Don't.
The Western.
Oh,
Godless.
Netflix?
Godless.
Don't.
Here's-
They're
here's-
full of lies and trickery.
Oh,
I'm so mad.
Having
sad,
having read what you wrote and everything, I agree if that was what I had gone into it. But I didn't know anything about it, and I'm really liking it because I didn't have the expectation that it was
Maybe.
an all-woman Western.
If I had different expectations, I wouldn't have been frustrated, but it was so obvious that the marketing was like, it's a town of all women. So I'm like, cool, there's going to be ladies featured in your Western. Oh, there's a scene with 2 dudes talking over the very capable woman while she stands in the background quietly.
Yeah.
I got through one episode and I was
Nope.
like, I can't. And I love Westerns. I run a fucking Western game here on Happy Jacks, and I can't watch that show now. Anyway, the
They
end.
say your sound
frustrating.
is low and or off, so let's make sure you're in the right.
I'm sorry, I'm
Say
filled with
another-
inner rage.
No,
And outer rage.
And is there another one? over
I've
there?
heard that from multiple
I
people.
didn't,
one there,
I
yeah.
didn't
Should be
even
on
know that it
4.
was supposed to be a women's
Check,
show,
check,
like
check.
the focus of it. Because I
So
haven't
much
seen
of the
much.
marketing was.
Yeah.
I just saw what's his face.
I know what you're talking about. But the thing is, like,
the guy with the face.
Yeah,
and people are
that
like,
guy.
oh, it wasn't false advertising. It's like, if you go back and you really do look at the advertising, it's like it's a town of
Oh.
all ladies and all. And the first episode is like there are dinosaurs in your dinosaur park, right, John? Like, it's like there are women in your ladies' Western, right? Netflix? Like,
Oh,
the fuck. Because I love Westerns, but I've seen this before. I have seen this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, this might be something different. And it's like, nope. Same old Western tropes that you know and love since forever.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Lame.
So mad.
Yeah, I totally would have watched a lady western.
Right?
That would have been cool.
I'm going to make
Speak.
a fucking lady
How
Western.
about
Do it.
now? Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Hello?
Hello? How do I sound?
So you might want to bring your
Oh.
mic up too.
You just smack yourself in the face.
Well, this is off to a good start.
boy.
I have to
Screaming.
make sure I don't catch it in my beard or scrape my beard across the microphone.
it sounds like you're coming through here.
okay.
So
Yeah, people say it's better now.
Terrific.
Yay.
So screaming about Westerns and you hitting yourself in the face. So this
Fix
is
it.
all
welcome to Tales from the Loop.
this is good signs.
I've lost my eye. All right. So this game is going to be taking place in the American Loop. The game is actually written by an RPG publisher in Sweden that had come out with a previous game called Mutant Year Zero that proved popular. This one I picked up entirely because of the artwork.
Yeah.
I saw some of the artwork that the guy did and was blown away by it. And I said, I'm going to pick that game up. Then it got to my house and I read it and I was like, that looks even better now that I've seen the game. So, the American Loop, which is a particle accelerator a la CERN, is built in Boulder City, Nevada, 20 miles or so outside of Las Vegas, right by the Hoover Dam and right by Lake Mead. Also the home of the manufacturing plant for the Fisher Space Pen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Little random trivia. That the whole story about the Americans and the Russians space race writing implements is made up.
Yeah.
It's a good story.
Yes, it's a good joke. But Fisher Space Pens are really cool, and if I ever catch the SOBs who've stolen the 2 that I've owned in my life, I will beat the crap out of you.
That's legit.
So if you happen to be a listener...
And if
He's
Nick
serious.
is going to beat the crap out of somebody, you better fucking run.
Yeah, or maybe just send it
If
back.
you have
That'd be
actually
nice.
angered
Oh, yeah,
Nick
that'd
to
be
the
good.
point of
That'd be fun.
violence,
Mail the pen back.
you would
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch.
I'll be
You
selling
text me
tickets,
right
All
away.
right,
I'll
go
be
ahead.
there, yeah.
taking bets.
Yeah, we'll do a
If I
live
just
stream.
if I just get a Slack message that's just an address, I'm just jumping in.
I'll send you the address.
Here's the time. You don't even have to say why. I'll just know. Be like some guy in
Oh, here we go.
Laguna
Road
Niguel
trip.
or something. Time. Anyway, so the game takes place in Boulder City. It's a small town that's close enough to larger city that it's not the middle of nowhere, but still, for the 10 to 15-year-olds that everybody's going to be playing, 20 miles to Las Vegas through the burning desert is a difficult trip without parental involvement or somebody else, because 15-year-olds even in Nevada can't drive, I don't think. I
No.
haven't looked it up.
Yeah, I don't know. What year is it exactly?
I'm going with 82.
1982.
Okay.
All right.
1982.
I kept bouncing around
Mm-hmm.
between 82 and 85.
Yep.
85 is when the Nintendo Entertainment System came
Yeah.
out in America.
Yeah, we got to be
That's
before
right.
that.
You
Yeah,
stopped
we got to be
doing anything
pre-Nintendo.
outside.
And I was like, but if I go before
That was the American loss of innocence
Yes.
right there.
that's the point. When we could all play Mario at home. But
82. Okay.
and it's just before the Olympics in Los Angeles in 84. Yeah. It's an interesting time. Probably the first year that I actually remember. So, the first thing we're going to do is go around.
Yes.
It's cool. It's
Nothing.
cool.
I'm just
old,
making
it's
faces
fine.
at her.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, this is your mistake that you didn't realize until we sat down next to each other.
It's like a weird mirror.
Oh, we should have played twins.
Oh, we totally
still
should
can.
You
have.
still can.
Yeah,
That's
it's not
true.
too late.
That
Nothing's set in
totally
stone
messes with
until
what I
after
wrote
we-
down, but we should discuss this. That would be really funny.
That would be funny.
Shit.
Confuse the occasional viewer, like, why do you have two people?
Dang it.
Did you really find twins to play twins? That's
I have to
amazing.
wear the red wig. Oh, I'd have to
Yeah.
get a new red wig because I put all kinds of braids and
Yeah. We could figure it out. Or we could just like be friends that tell people we're twins because we look similar.
shit. That's fair. And then it's basically real life. Everything about this is becoming my life.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, we could do that, but I already did write 3 paragraphs about this character.
Yeah,
so-
and I had like some parent ideas for her and stuff. So we could just
Can you
But
combine
anyway,
it?
no, actually, I
Can
want
you
to
combine it
know.
and be stepsisters?
Actually, I want to know about her parents because that's the thing is my character's family life is garbage, And so when we were talking about on Slack about anchors, I'm like, and I'm like, maybe it's a friend's parent. You know, like you always have that kid, especially in the 80s. There's always that kid that basically lives at the other kid's house.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
maybe, like, I get along with one of your character's parents or something.
It's possible.
So I'm over there all the
my
time.
problem that I wrote is that my parents are always working.
Oh,
I was
maybe
actually
not.
going to talk to Dave about having them either work at the Loop or the Space Pen Factory. And that's like one of the reasons that my character is so into like technology and computers and stuff.
It's totally fine.
Yeah.
Like, between those two places, a huge percentage of the people that live here work in one of those two places.
Okay, I
It
figured.
could also make a fun link for us too, because my parents work for the Loop.
Oh, okay,
So it's
cool.
or Dart, I guess, is the name of the
Yeah.
Yeah.
company. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Department of Advanced Research in Teleportation.
Yes.
yeah.
But nobody says that. That's
Right.
the super top secret name.
Right.
Most people assume that DART means Department of Advanced Research and Technology.
Sure.
Yeah.
But there are like hover trucks and things like that out
Absolutely.
in the world that everyone knows about.
Oh
right?
yeah,
Okay.
They are, and robots.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's some
there
cool
are
shit.
absolutely automatons that do things, and not just hover trucks, but like hover like military vehicles,
Oh,
and
yeah.
police vehicles and stuff.
Nice.
Instead of having the big like all-terrain SWAT truck, they have like a hovering job.
Yeah.
So, because of research at this loop and the sister loop in Sweden, they discovered this. They call it magnetrine technology, and it's basically the northern hemisphere of the planet Earth has enough magnetic field that they can make vehicles that hover. Sort of like the ships in real life in the Matrix movies,
Oh,
like with
yeah.
the sort of pods.
Right.
That
Yeah. So in the southern hemisphere, do they just stick to the ground real good?
They don't. All I know is that in the book it says it doesn't work.
No,
So-
it does. It just is not as effective.
Oh.
So in the northern hemisphere they can have like the mega barges,
Oh,
but in the
okay.
southern hemisphere they only have like the smaller,
Like
like
tricycles.
Vehicle
truck
or
size.
car.
The
rather
mega
than-
dinghy.
Yeah, rather than battleship size.
So
or
you have
however
to
they
get
are.
out and push.
It's like the poor guys in Star Wars that have to push around that sensor pod.
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
What's your job? I'm the sensor
I'm the
pod
sensor
guy.
dude.
So, first things first, let's go around and make sure we've got all the types right.
Okay.
Mhm.
So everybody's sticking with, well, I know. So we've got weirdo
Yeah.
and computer geek,
Yes.
and then jock
Oh yeah.
and
Rocker.
rocker. All
Go
right.
with the rocker.
I
Because
like
there's
it.
a lot of great music in the early '80s, and I've already started to form a little kernel of an idea here.
Awesome.
Absolutely. So, step 2 is define your age between 10 and 15. And we had a little discussion before we started streaming about ages. If everybody wants to be around the same age, that's cool. If you want to be the smart kid that got accelerated a grade, so you're...
That's what I was thinking.
or if you want to be
I was
the
gonna
not so smart
12.
kid that got held
Oh,
back a
that would
year.
maybe put us in the same grade then,
Yeah.
because I put 13.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, I was gonna go with 12 and then have her like get bumped up a grade.
Okay. So, 12 and you're 13?
Yeah.
I think I might go 14 because I'm repeating the grade.
I love this meeting of
Yeah.
things.
I like it.
And there's a good backstory for that. So
Cool. I was going to go with 13.
Okay.
That's what I had here.
Cool.
Cool, we set the baseline.
That's right.
Yeah.
Average.
Average.
all right, 14.
We're number average. We're number average.
The interesting thing about the way the age works in this game is your age defines how many points you get to put in your base stats. So you go ahead and take your age and then add it to those 4 base attributes.
So it's just divided by 4 and spread the points around, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, you can spread them
Yeah.
any way you want, but can't go higher than 5 and can't go lower than 1.
Mm-hmm.
But any other distribution is totally cool.
And then what do the numbers represent?
That's how many dice you'll roll
Okay.
when you do something associated with that.
And it's
attribute.
just all 6-siders.
Yep,
All
Oh,
right.
so you have to have at least one in everything.
1 in everything. yeah.
Okay.
I have a really important, stressful question I have to ask you.
All right.
I really wanted this character's favorite song to be Little Red Corvette. I knew it was on the bubble. I looked it up. It's 1983.
Ah.
Is there any sort of time warping capability? We have hovering trucks. Maybe Prince was inspired.
This world was just a little ahead of time.
6 months in advance.
Little hovering
Maybe.
Corvette.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Yes, that's fine.
Whew, thank you. I was really sweating that. I didn't know how to
So,
proceed without
I'll lay
deciding
out a
that.
blanket thing now for everybody watching and everybody here. If something's in the ballpark, period-wise, I'm totally cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that I'll make references that are a year or 6 months out of date or whatever, and it's going to happen. Like, one of the things I'm looking forward to in the game is the fact that The Empire Strikes Back is coming, or Return of the Jedi is coming out soon. Empire is out, Star Wars is out, those are cultural phenomenons. Jedi's not out yet. That's why I kind of picked 82, because I was like, it's on the cusp of
Nice.
that happening.
Very nice.
So.
I'm actually going to pick an oldie because I wanted a character, and one of the things she likes is older records and digging out stuff that's hits from decades before.
That's cool.
Again, totally not like me at all.
You're definitely not playing yourself.
What is happening? It's a different side of myself, I suppose.
It's okay. Totally unlike real life, my character loves robots. And so her favorite song is Our Friends Electric by Gary Newman.
It's going to be real challenging for me to make a character who's bad with computers. So I teach computer science to high schoolers, and this is going to be awkward.
Well, it's nice because you know what you can play dumb about.
Oh, that's true, actually,
You know everything
Yeah.
to...
In real life, I am definitely computer literate, but not super knowledgeable about computers, so try not to actually make, because I will make mistakes.
I will not.
And here my advice is going to be, come up with the worst things you possibly can that are absolutely inaccurate, but say them with so much conviction and see what happens.
Like they do, on TNG when they're using science speak about engineering.
Oh, yeah.
It has a warp core that does the giggle loop.
Well, that's the other thing is
In
we've got
19
whatever kind of
seconds.
computers are, Amigas and Commodores
Jordy, that was
with
totally
dark
convincing.
tech.
Yeah.
I definitely believe you.
That's the other thing that I really liked about the system is that, everybody's got Apple IIs at home and Commodore 64s and Amigas, and yet there's autonomous robots walking around. It's just
right.
What? How did you make a robot run on 64K of memory? Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah.
But it's awesome. So, after you distribute your points into your stats,
Okay.
you take whatever your age is and subtract it from 15, and that's how many luck points you get.
Did we go
Okay.
over those what those stats are?
I did
Should
not.
bring
I probably should, yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I'm trying to think which ones I want to put points into.
Gotcha.
Because each character
so it's
set
got it
has
right
like
here if you
key
want.
skills, right?
Yes. So on your page of your character, it kind of gives you the skills that match with that archetype. But the 4 main stats.
Do you want us to each take one and then read the skills that are related to it, since there are 4? You
Sure,
got 4
if you have it
players,
handy.
4 and 4. They're right here on the sheet.
Oh.
So to go first,
Head to the back of the sheet.
the first of the of the 4 attributes is body, and body is of course covering all the physical things. So it covers your skills that are like sneak, force, which is how you interact on things, and then move, which is everything from running to climbing to swimming, anything that's an active activity.
Nice.
The next one is tech, and so that's kind of is what it is. You it's your relationship to technology. Under that are skills like tinker, program, and calculate. So it kind of covers a broad swath of territory there.
And then you've got heart, which is more
Heart.
social.
Sorry.
I was just about to say,
I couldn't not. I'm sorry.
That isn't out for another couple years, I don't think either.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Not for a long
That's
time.
like a 90s show
Is it?
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Social interactions such as contact, which is like knowing who to call for something or who to contact about something. Charm, and lead also.
And then bringing up the rear with mind, ironically. You have investigate, comprehend, and empathize.
So, the way the dice mechanic of the game works is when you come across a trouble of whatever nature, you figure out how you're going to deal with the trouble. And then based on what you narrate, we figure out what kind of stat you're going to use. So if there's a bully and you want to punch him in the face, that's a body force kind of move. So you take your body attribute, and then you take your number of points you have in body attribute, and then the number of points you have in the force skill, and that's the number of dice you roll. So you assemble like a die pool. And then you roll them, and if you get any 6s, you succeed.
All right.
So it's, if you
Oh. Okay.
come up with 5 dice, and you roll all 5, if any of them come up with 6, you succeed. There are some situations for like more advanced troubles, like the big bad or whatever, you might need more than 1 success. Or even there's sort of like a skill challenge in some other games where you come up with ways that all of you are going to do something different. So maybe you're going to run out and start wrestling with the robot, and you're going to play loud music to confuse it, and you're going to try and figure out how to reprogram it, and then you're going to just like send your pet rat into the works and gum it up.
I'm totally going full
So,
Willard
like-
here.
Wow.
Never go full Willard.
It's too late for that.
She's gone now. There's only Willard.
There's only There's no
Nick's going to be
Mac.
walking out, getting in his car, and he's just going to hear like a weird chittering noise, and he gets in the car and starts it up and starts driving, then you just see a wave of rats over him. And then Mac just standing there in the headlights laughing.
It has to be like the full horror thing where they're squeezing through the vents. And
Yeah.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I
they're
can't,
coming out everywhere.
Yeah.
The door
They
locks.
chew through the wiring
Yeah.
so the door locks. And I
Yeah.
Okay, so just to confirm one more time with these skills, because you were saying you can't have like less than 1, but
Right.
you can have like
You can put 1 point in one of them.
okay.
Oh wait.
Because that's what I'm trying to figure out.
This, I'm just talking about the attributes,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the sub skills. So just body, tech, heart, mind.
Just the big
Just
bold
those big
ones.
four.
Yeah, the big 4.
Oh.
Now, there's one other thing I want to address because it's kind of a neat system. The way
Got
that
it.
it works
Okay, I totally
is
missed that.
you play a character between the ages of 10 and 15, and the older you are, the more points you have to spend on your attributes, but you lose something called luck, which we haven't covered yet. So the younger you are, the luckier you are, but the lower your attribute points are going to be.
So that
Which makes sense because you wouldn't have learned as much
Exactly.
yet.
Yeah. Or you're just not as like a 10-year-old is rarely going to be able to overpower a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's just not something that happens.
Unless you're like an Amazon child or something.
Right.
Yeah,
it
that
still
happens.
Could happen, but
I had the fun experience of being 5'9" in 5th grade, and everyone was like, "You should play basketball." I was like, "I'm like a Great Dane puppy, and I don't know where my arms end." Like how? It was not a fun time.
That sounds like my life.
Yeah. I'm glad everyone thought like, "Oh my God, he's going to be 7 feet tall. Why is he so tall?" And they're like, and then I stopped.
That happened to me. I was the same height I am now when I was 12, and then I stopped growing.
So you were
every-
super tall.
Everybody
as a
was
12-year-old.
like,
Yeah.
"Wow, you're going to be so tall!"
Yeah.
And then by like 10th grade, everyone was taller than me.
So all those cigarettes and coffee your parents made you stunted your growth.
Yeah, I don't know what did it. I have no idea.
I was the opposite.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I was the second shortest kid all through middle school and elementary school.
Late sprouter.
And then in high school, that's when I went from being like 5 foot
Oh, yeah.
6 foot in a year.
Ooh,
And it
that's
was
rough.
Oh, hi.
Yeah.
My mom was just happy I was taller than she was. She was like 5'2" nothing, and I'm 5'7", and she was so happy.
Nice.
And I was so mad because then I couldn't wear her shoes anymore.
But it is raised that, to throw back to another game that you've done, Dallas is number 1 on the air right now.
It is indeed. Who said that?
Gen Human.
Nice. Yes. The number 1 show on television is Dallas.
That's funny. So where do the points for skills come from? Or did we not get there yet?
We haven't gotten there yet.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's where I got confused too.
So after you've distributed your points, you take 15 minus your age number, and that's how many luck points you get.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Got
luck
it.
points are just a reroll. Like during gameplay, you say you're using a luck, you can reroll a die. And they refresh every game session.
Do you re-roll all the dice that failed in the roll, or?
I think it's just one die.
Oh, okay.
I'd have to double
Oh, that's
check.
fine. We don't have to know right now.
Before we get to that part, I'll
Yeah.
figure it out. But
It's a moot point anyway, so.
but yeah, it's and they refresh every session, so there's no sense trying to hoard them.
Ah, okay.
It's you re-roll a failed die.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's.
Oh
just
no, I'm sorry. It lets you re-roll failed dice without needing to push.
Oh, groovy. Okay.
You cannot go back to the earlier result.
So you got to stick with what happened.
Yeah.
And you cannot spend more than 1 luck point on a single die roll.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Probability goes all to hell otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually put in a little probability chart that's useful. So after you get your luck points, you now have 10 points that you can put into any of the skills.
Just 10.
Okay.
Just 10.
Okay.
And you can't go higher than 3.
You can't go higher than 3, but 3 can only be in your key skills. So each archetype has 3 key skills that represent what that archetype is best at. For example, the rocker has key skills of move, charm, and empathize. So I can have up to 3 in any of those, but anything that's not a key skill, you can only have a maximum of 1 skill point.
Okay.
It's funny that empathize is under mind instead of heart.
That is interesting.
I think they define, I was looking at just a minute ago, empathize, they designate as the skill that you use when you are trying to find like a weakness.
Oh. That seems like the opposite of empathizing with
Yeah.
somebody.
Well,
I mean, it's
Well, if you know how to make
empathize.
somebody feel better, you know how to make somebody feel worse.
That is true. That is so devious.
Okay.
It's like if Troy was evil.
empathize, the ability to study what makes a person, an animal, or a conscious robot or cyborg tick, and how to find its weakness.
Oh no, he's not good at that.
You need time to study or talk to a creature or person to be able to roll for the skill. If you succeed, you get to ask 2 questions. So it's also sort of the detect lies and all of that other stuff.
Friends don't lie.
Oh boy. Oh man, that show's so good.
It is. It is.
And how refreshing is it to get a sequel season that's as good as the first season?
Yeah.
At least I enjoyed
Yeah.
this.
I enjoyed it. I don't think it was as strong as the first season. I think it got a little retready in places.
Jen Human asks, will you allow help of players? And if so, how are they going to work? If you've thought about that, maybe
Yes, we'll have
start thinking
something.
about
I'm not sure yet.
It could be luck points.
It could be, but that's yeah. We're still sort of tweaking. The
It says
player
the guy with
mechanic.
1 luck point.
But they could be, right?
Yeah, I mean, they-
could, right?
Yeah.
How about they buy us luck points?
There's
Asking
a
for
whole,
a friend.
there's a whole discussion going on about the help a player mechanic and what we're going to do with it.
just
Oh.
overall.
Just overall,
Yeah.
yeah, because it can get a little ridiculous. Like
Mm.
as much as we love the engagement factor of help
Yeah,
a player,
totally.
it, like mechanically in a game, it gets very difficult for a GM to present challenges sometimes
Right.
when it's like, oh,
I'll just throw another token at
yeah,
it.
I've got 45 helper players over here, so
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
you come up
Yeah.
with is not scary at all.
Although they tend to come up a lot when players want to kill each other. That's
Yeah.
super fun.
So make players want to kill each other. Is that what you're saying? To get,
Use
and
it.
then-
That's how the both games I've played here at Happy Checks. That's when I've always seen the spike in help of players is they're gonna start punching each other. It's like a weird betting system.
Just give them all this ammunition.
Well,
Yeah.
it's, Stork and our characters were like gonna have a fucking showdown.
Oh, really?
It didn't happen, but all of a sudden they kept like giving us all these helpful players. I think we
That's
both
great.
like racked up like 8 or like 7 or 8 of them a piece.
Wow, that's a lot.
It was out of control, and then we didn't end up fighting.
To answer chat, I'm actually thinking that what I'm going to do is have the I'm playing a rocker, but rather than going like the standard hard rock, I think that this is the era of new wave
Yes.
and Oingo Boingo and a lot of alternative stuff, and that's
Yeah.
probably what I'm going to do. I'm actually
Nice.
thinking that my character Edward Danny Alonzo is going to be a huge fan of Oingo Boingo.
I have a feeling
love
our
it.
characters are going to get along because I almost picked an Oingo Boingo song for favorite song, but then I decided to go more old school because I figure she like loves pulling up like 50s records.
Right, all the vinyl and the...
like she
Super
wants to
cool.
listen to like, you know, Elvis and things of that era. Like that kind of rock is very appealing.
Cool.
Yeah, if you're listening to new wave robot sounds, we're gonna get along.
I'm happy. Oingo Boingo was the first band like I went to see in a concert,
awesome.
like as a kid,
Uh-huh.
by myself. Well, with friends.
So good.
Yeah.
One of my
it was
favorites.
their last
Jen
concert.
Human asks if Donnie Sr. is making sandwiches. Said to ask you,
Oh,
is Donnie Sr. making sandwiches?
I want to see.
probably
Yeah, I
yes.
could use a sandwich.
He's referencing the zombie Dead Rain game that Stu
Oh.
and I were running. We had an NPC that in the game mechanic there was a mechanic for basically like a mass grave of people that rotted together and reanimated like with a big hole.
Gross.
Okay, cool.
And we named this character Donnie because there was a dude that worked at Subway that had a little name tag that said Donnie, and that was what one of the other NPCs saw first, and he was like, "That's Donnie."
Mega gross.
So what is your character's name?
Edward Alonzo, but his nickname is Danny.
So he mostly just goes by that, though.
Yeah.
All right.
Danny.
And when we're done, I'm totally gonna just take a picture of everybody's sheet because that's the only way I'm gonna get everything written down.
Cool, cool.
Since there's 4 of you all writing at the same time, and I'm gonna be
Mhm.
like,
Come on, just type with 4 hands at once.
Obs.
if only I could be like Mr. Scott, then I'd be fine.
Okay.
What's your character's name?
This is Jackson Clay, also known as Crash, is his nickname at school.
Cool.
And yours?
Is Cassandra Abrams. She goes by Cassie.
Cassie.
Cassandra with a C.
Yes.
And Mac, what was your name again?
Margaret Midge Johansson. She goes by Midge.
Midge. Oh yeah, what were my...
Yeah, I love that as a nickname.
They were fun. Like the relationships questions are always really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's actually the part about this game that has made me the most nervous because this is the first sort of narrative story game I've ever run.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I gotta, okay, I can do this.
Yeah, you totally got it. It's just like Masks,
Right,
just with more dice.
right. But I didn't run Masks.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I just kind of showed up and squirted soap on
That's a
things.
good note for myself.
It's a really awful. That's like the worst possible way to describe your contribution.
So the next thing is picking your iconic item. So I know you've already picked your pet rat.
Yep. Her name is Waffles.
I like
Which
it.
it's one, adorable, 2, gives a little bit of my Stranger Things nod in
Yes.
there.
I noticed that.
Yeah. Well, and I actually did have a rat that was sort of waffle colored.
Mm.
Oh.
So, because I used to have pet rats, like, up until a few years ago. And I love pet rats. They're so sweet.
Does Midge take waffles everywhere? Do we all?
Yeah,
we've all met
Waffles is going to be, like, always going to be, like, in a pocket or in a hood or something. Like, always.
Hoodies for the win.
Yeah, so, yeah, Midge always has Waffles with her.
Makes sense.
She would have taught her, like, tricks and, like, basic stuff, too.
Oh,
I was thinking basic. Yep.
Yeah.
That's like,
Yes.
She does basic.
Go to 30.
my rat knows how to play that turtle game. Dude.
really impressive.
Waffles, program basic, then kill.
Now I have the image of you sending the rat into the giant robot, and it's just sitting there in front of a little screen, pushing keys.
It's like now piloting the robot and
But
like
It's the interior shot and the green light is
yeah,
on
it's
the
the
raft.
it's just the aliens view of
yeah.
the system booting up. And
It's
shining.
like the rat's version of a Jaeger.
Yes.
I'm human size now.
Doing dance moves.
Yeah.
Waffles takes over a robot and starts piloting the robot. I want
Yes.
this to happen
Dance,
now.
dance, Rapvolution.
Oh yes.
Oh, boo.
I approve this message.
All right. Anybody else have an iconic item?
Well, mine were there were a number of like sports items, but since Crash is a track star, I was going to go with running shoes, unless that's too like.
That's cool.
Because I know you get some kind of bonus for having it with you.
Yeah,
and
the way the iconic... So, during gameplay, you could find an item that's useful to you in some way, and that just gives you a die bonus.
Okay.
So, like, if you're trying to solve a mystery, or if you're trying to deal with the bully down the street that's coming after you and he wants to beat you up,
Yeah.
and you have a baseball bat,
Yeah.
that gives you +2, because that's pretty strong.
Sure.
Sure.
But if your iconic item was a baseball bat, like your lucky bat, that would give you +3.
Oh, okay.
So anytime you can figure out a way to include your iconic item in whatever you're doing, you get +3.
Okay. Well.
But running shoes is totally cool.
Yeah,
Like,
it seems like they want it to be some kind of sports thing, and since he's a track star, it makes the most sense, I guess.
Yeah.
More than like a javelin. Seems so weird thing to carry around.
I don't think we call you Crash.
No.
Let's see, and then I put up the hoodie, and then Waffles pulls on my hair, and I can cook suddenly.
It's just like Ratatouille.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how Waffles knows how to do basic. You don't know how to program a computer, but you sit down and he just starts tugging away. There
Waffles
you
is
go.
amazing. It's a bionic rat, obviously.
I hope so. I really hope so.
It's a tiny robot.
It's just like unbeknownst, you know, at the end of the night, she's sleeping, and Waffles is in her tank, and then you hear just the eye goes. It goes out. It's like Perry the Platypus, and Waffles goes on adventure.
Please, I hope that's
whenever
true.
whenever you're asleep and he like laser cuts a hole in the side of the tank and climbs out and goes over and plugs in and charges it up.
A rat. Waffles the rat.
My iconic item is going to be my Commodore 64.
Nice.
Of course it
Yes.
is.
I saw that pre-orders are opening up this Thursday for the Atari box. Actually made by Atari. Weirdly enough.
Yeah, should be interesting to see.
Yeah, I don't
know if we really needed another gaming platform, but
All the platforms.
sure.
We're getting one.
You got so caught up on whether or not you could that you didn't stop to think whether or not you should.
Atari finds a way. So what about you, Nick?
I'm thinking it's probably going to be an instrument of some sort. I'm not sure whether it's going to be the electric guitar they have listed in here, or if
Synthesizer.
Guitar. It might be
Sorry.
guitar. It
Sorry,
might
I
be
got a
guitar.
little something in my throat there.
But actually, I think I'm leaning right into guitar because that's
Or just
kind
a
of amazing.
theremin?
Yes!
No. Do we have veto powers?
And I'll bring one in. It'll be the best.
It's a bird cage and a saw.
Sorry, I was showing somebody the Jurassic Park melodica earlier, and now that's in my head. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Yeah,
my
it has to
God.
be guitar because that's
It's
just
beautiful.
Yeah, that's
that's
epic.
the most 80s of
Yeah.
all
Yes.
instruments.
Yes, it is. That's amazing. No, melodica is like the thing, like if a kid got like the school flutophone or something, was trying to learn how to play the Jurassic Park theme or something. So the lead into the video is John Hammond going, "Welcome to Jurassic Park," and then all of a sudden it's just look up Jurassic Park melodica. I am not overselling it. It's amazing.
That sounds awesome.
Chat, I'm going to harness your power for a moment because I can't look this up. But if someone could tell me what year The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai was out in theaters,
Ooh.
that would make my
Ooh,
day.
yeah.
I'll see if I can beat them. Oh, she's got a keyboard.
Come on, internet.
Go.
Come on.
1984.
God damn it.
I mean, thank you. I
Why is
appreciate
it?
the
Why is
attention,
this internet the worst right now? Wow, actually, it's like not even
All right,
processing.
I'm
What
still
the hell?
gonna definitely go home and watch
Oh.
that because
Damn it,
I
Wi-Fi.
cheated. I don't hook up to the Wi-Fi here.
Well, I kind of have to.
Yeah,
with
right.
this.
All right. So the next step is to come up with your problem, and it gives you some examples on your character
Thank you, Chad.
sheet.
God, where do I start?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Although I actually do have that written down for realsies.
Yeah. So go for it.
So leaning a little bit into more of like Stand By Me, she's got a parent that's institutionalized, and she was getting picked on by the bullies, and one day like fucking snapped, like went after this kid, started punching, broke their nose, and was just like incoherent, like screaming, yelling, and so they think she's gonna end up just like her mom, so everybody kind of thinks she's crazy and gives her a wide berth, and it's not that she doesn't like people, it's just she snaps, so everybody is a little standoffish with her, because it's like, this kid's mom is locked up, so obviously she's gonna be
runs in the family.
Yeah.
She will also be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yep, I just added crazy question mark. Exclamation.
I wrote, she's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Sam?
My parents are always working. They work for the Dart for the Loop, and Cassie super wants to like follow in their career path for like technology and stuff, but they're never around and always too busy for her.
That's cool.
So she tries really hard, but they don't seem to notice. They're like, "Oh, that's nice, honey. Good job.
You're
Another
like,
A."
I built this freaking awesome science project
Yeah.
by myself, guys. They're like, oh, that's cool. All right.
Cool.
I gotta work late tonight.
Yeah,
Bye.
exactly. So, she,
Microwave dinners in the freezer.
exactly. Very much latchkey kid.
That's okay. My wife and I sat down to watch The Flight of the Navigator with our kids.
Oh yeah.
Right?
That was one of my favorites growing up.
Right?
Did it hold up? Okay.
Yes and no.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Because simply by nature of the fact that as parents in today's society, we started the movie and within the first 10 minutes we're like, those parents would be arrested in the system already.
Yeah.
Like, because literally they're driving in the big giant 80 station wagon. The kids are just loose in the back. They stop outside of a house with some kids playing in the yard, roll down the back window. Both their kids climb out and they're like, we'll see you later, Mom and Dad. They don't go in and check that it's cool if they just leave their kids with those folks or anything. They don't even know if those parents are home. They got nothing. Drive off. After the kids are done playing, they have to walk like 4 miles through the jungle of Florida and like across train tracks to get home.
It's funny.
And we're like, we can't even let our kids play with Hot Wheels in the driveway unless we're sitting out there with them. Like, oh my God.
That's funny.
The 80s were a different time.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, right. So, sort of a compound problem. Crash missed a bunch of last year because he got hit real bad when he was still playing football. And that was what are we in 8th grade? 13-year-olds.
I don't know how children work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm repeating 8th grade because I missed a bunch of it.
Maybe?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's 8.
Yeah, because I'm pretty
remember.
sure you're
No, it's
14-year-olds
younger than
start
that.
freshman.
14 is... No, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. 14 to 15 is freshman year. So yeah,
I
that's
feel like I was 10 in 4th grade, but I was always young for my grade, so
10 is usually
11.
5th grade.
Yeah, 10 is 5th grade usually.
yeah.
really?
Yeah, it's usually the grade
I guess I don't remember.
grade plus 5 is
Because
the
my boy's
average.
in 1st grade now,
Really?
and he's
Yeah.
6.
Oh, that's an easy
Okay.
trick. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Oh yeah, that totally works.
Just to roughly.
No, that's helpful. I had no idea. I don't
That's
think
one of
about
those-
kids very often and or their schooling.
Yeah, it's my job.
No, that is really clever.
Fair.
So Crash, it was called Crash before the accident, but he got hit real bad in middle school football and was in a coma for a while, and that's sort of like people know this, but like it's awkward for him, right? So that's like one of his problems, and then the problem is he's also repeating 8th grade, and that's awkward, and so his problem is like he's the coma kid, That's
So does he get mad when people call him Crash because he's
Well, no,
people
because
making fun of him?
he was Crash before that. It was like a really unfortunate nickname after the fact, right? Because he was a great like wide receiver, football. He's real fast. He was always fast, and it was fine. And so now he's been recovering and doing. Now he's like running track and swim team. He has to do all like non-contact sports, and he's so it's like a thing. He's that kid who was in a coma, so it's like awkward.
Got it.
Sure. Plus, you've got all your old friends are now a year ahead of you.
Yeah.
They're gone on to high school.
Right.
So now you're with a bunch of kids that you didn't necessarily know that well.
Right.
You probably knew them, but
They were sevies.
Yeah.
That's what 8th graders call 7th graders.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what I used to call 7-Eleven.
Kids are trash.
Yeah. Yeah. 8th graders really have this sense that they're so much further above than 7th graders.
Because they're the biggest
Until
fish
they get to
in
be
the tiny
ninth
pond.
graders.
Yeah, like
Right, and then they're back at the bottom.
Yeah, you're
again.
gonna be freshman, dork.
Yeah.
Things are about to go really sideways.
Yeah.
All right. Nick, problem.
I'm going to select from the book here that
Cool.
my problem is that Danny's parents are about to be divorced.
Oh boy.
And he doesn't know how to deal with that.
That's one of the things I really liked in these choices on a lot of these characters, because there's some like really heavy choices for kids, like divorce or like I don't remember what character class it is, but like mom is cheating on dad.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, the popular
I think that's
kid.
the popular kid.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what inspired me to do something a little darker with like the coma situation. I was like, oh wow, let's get.
Yeah, they're not kidding
I
around.
actually
with these
I took something darker too with the pride because I took something out of the book and then made it
Nice.
horrible.
Nice.
Yeah, your backstory when I read through what you wrote, it made me sad inside,
Oh.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, feels are good.
But like that's exactly like when we played through the Legends of the Five Ring game that we've talked about lots of times. The first time, when we came to the ending for that, Stork wrote like an epilogue for his character, and then he read it to all of us, and it was so depressing
Oh wow.
that I was like, oh my god. So like I went home and I tried to write the happiest ending possible for my character, because I was like, this, like it all fit within the story that happened, but I was like, I can't let everything go to shit like the way Stork sees the world.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Yeah, mine actually, not to get like super sad horrible, when I saw what it said and when I started thinking about the character's backstory, it became a little more personal than I was expecting it to be too. So it was like, oh, it's gonna be one of those characters. Okay, cool.
All right. So after problem, I think we need drive next, right? Let me get to the right page. Drive.
So I'll start on this side. We can go back and forth.
Sure, that works for me.
Like a loop
Yeah.
and tales from it.
Ooh.
The loop.
So Danny's drive is to have everything in life. He wants to live everything to the fullest. He wants everything dialed to 11. If that movie's out yet, I don't know if that movie's out yet. Probably
I
not.
don't think
That's
it's too
later.
early.
Like maybe 8
A
or something.
smidge, perhaps.
I'm sure chat will tell me I'm wrong. But
It's 80s-ish.
okay, so he doesn't refer to it that way, but that's
Yeah.
what he means. He just hasn't figured out the way to say that yet.
He's gonna have an epiphany
Like
when
thrill
he sees
seeking
that
kind
movie.
of stuff, or like you just want to get out and do everything.
It's more like
you want to be involved in everything.
it's more like escapism. It's like a little bit of FOMO. He
Okay.
wants to be part of everything. He wants to have
sure.
everything going on, and he doesn't want to be at home because that means he has to deal with the parent situation.
Yeah, that's cool.
Makes sense.
All right. Coma Kid.
Yeah. Coma, kick. Oh, sorry. I'll write the rest of that later.
Or don't.
No, never. So Crash is kind of obsessed with trying to make his parents proud, do the right thing, that sort of thing. Because his parents work for Dart, and they're like that's a big deal. Like he's really proud of that, and so he's like feels like he's already behind a year in school now, and he's like, oh my god, he just feels a lot of pressure. So he's proud of like the awesome things that his parents are doing, and so he's he's trying to.
So your drive is to live up to their.
Yeah, do the right thing as much as he can, and try to make them proud.
Sure. All right. I already forgot your Cassie.
Cassie loves puzzles. She just likes figuring out how stuff works.
Okay.
And just wants to know how stuff works, how to build things. Her ultimate goal is to build robots because she's not real great with people and she likes robots better. Because friends are electric.
9 out of 10 robots are better than people.
Yes.
Waiting for Skynet to go live.
Yeah. If Skynet goes live, she's going to have a hand in it. She's going to be like, yes, be friends with me.
Or the other robot from this time frame would be, would you like to play global thermonuclear war?
Yeah.
The Whopper.
Yeah.
And oh damn it! Now I forgot.
Short Circuit?
Yes.
Oh, Johnny
Johnny
Five.
Five is
That's-
alive.
Really? That's what you were thinking
That's
of?
what I was
I
thinking
just
of,
pulled that
yes.
out of your brain.
Yes.
Wow.
Because that's what I was trying to think of, and then he brought up war games, and then I just went through this whole I had to play tic-tac-toe against myself to get out of that trap. And then,
Yes, I thought you were going to say Short Circuit also.
would you like to be a pepper too?
Yeah.
Leave this town.
Ah.
Get out.
GTFO.
Hardcore.
Cool. And then after that is Pride.
It's so messed up.
Well, let's start with that one. I want to hear that.
Okay, it's messed up because it's actually based on something sort of kind of actually happened for me. So there was an option in the book that says, Mom says I'm beautiful. But her mom is locked up from having this horrible schizophrenia and doesn't remember her daughter's face anymore. But yet every time she goes to visit her, that's still something she says. And when my mom went to the hospital when she first had her cancer and it metastasized to her brain, my mom had a psychotic break. And she doesn't remember, or she didn't remember that day because my mom's no longer with me. But when she woke up, I was like the first person she interacted with. And she looked at me and she said, "You look so pretty like Princess Leia." And I saw that, I'm like, Brooke, stop it! So that's the thing that I wrote down. The end.
I love it. That's super touching. And also heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't even know that part when I read through.
No,
and
it's one
I'm
of those
still,
weird.
like,
It's one of those weird things that
Yeah.
like she doesn't. When she came back to herself, she had lost an entire day. But we'd spent that whole day in the hospital talking about
Wow.
like this and that. She wanted me to bring down the game system because she wanted to watch me play Portal. Because she remembered watching me play Portal. My mom was never good at video games, so she wanted to watch me play because she liked watching it. Like we had this whole conversation. It was a completely lost day. The next day, she didn't remember a goddamn thing. And I was
Wow.
like the only person that she really seemed to click with that day. That like wasn't frustrating for her. It was very surreal.
Wow.
Boy.
So cheery.
Well, mine is way less heavy.
That's good. That's good. Because if we kept up that level for the whole game, then all of us would just, like, every game session, we're just like,
Well, every game session would have to begin and end with the suicide hotline number for us and for our viewers.
He's like, Mac, you can't complain in this game. The chat won't watch it. You're depressing.
Everyone's crying all the time.
we start getting all these emails like, man, that game's really good, but
We become the hard to watch Netflix show.
yeah.
It was good, but I could only watch it once.
Like, I watched an episode,
Boo
and then I
Day
had to go
Day and
outside.
others are all giving you virtual hugs.
Oh, hugs are gross.
Well,
At least they're
They're
virtual.
virtual.
Virtually. Nothing's touching.
well, no, the idea is probably pretty repulsive too. Support. They're sending you psychic support.
I prefer cash and whiskey.
Those are acceptable choices.
I thought
substitutes
so.
for hugs.
I
Yeah.
thought so.
So Cassie, her pride is that she's really proud of how smart she is and how good she is at figuring stuff out. So her pride is that she can figure out any machine. Given like the tools and enough time with it, she can figure out how to make it work.
Crash's pride is, I don't know if he's consciously aware of this, but he's that incredibly irritating person where the first time you show him how to do a physical activity, he just nails it. They're like, here, throw this frisbee, and he's like, whoop, it's like first try, he gets it, like, here, shoot a basket, like, boop, you mean like that? Like, why is that so hard? Like, it's just every, like, physical thing that he tries, like, when the coach had him try pole vault the first time, he was like, whoop, you mean like that? Like, should I just do it like that every time? Like, yes.
Physical adepts, we hate them.
In Matrix, you did the jump on the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
No one makes the first jump.
Right, he did.
Crash is just like, pew.
Yeah.
So, however we're doing them, Sergito has redeemed a help a player for Mac as a it's a hug token or a sport token or psychic whiskey as
Psychic whiskey. The
now.
finest of the whiskey.
That's something I would like to know more about.
The whiskey that knows your preferences.
Yeah.
Would you like to know more?
Yeah.
With your permission, I'd like to make my pride that Danny stood up for Midge as the weird kid. So if you're okay with that, like
I
you
would
were
like
being
to figure out
bullied?
the context, because the thing is, she went nuts on a bully.
Okay.
So she basically scared the shit out of them. So they're a little scared to go after her.
So maybe it's the other side of that. Like, she's not crazy. You know, after you went ham on someone, like, she's not crazy. She's normal, and
like the one person who stood by her, because everybody else in the town is like, she's that problem kid that's going to end up in an institution like her mother.
Right. So if that's okay with you,
That's
I'd like
totally
to
fine.
do that. Okay.
Also related to Midge, would it be okay if her like going to town on this bully happened while Crash was in his coma?
Sure.
So it's just this thing that he's heard about, and he didn't
Well,
actually
and
see
you
it.
would have heard like all of like it getting bigger and bigger as a tale about
Right,
she's
right.
speaking in tongues or something.
Yeah. So he knows who she is, but is just hearing secondhand the story of what happened.
Yeah, she's the crazy one.
Yeah.
There was this one kid, and she killed him.
Yeah. They're like, he got better. He's still at school, but he was dead.
He was dead at the time.
Literally dead for 2 minutes.
Yeah, I thought
The
about
vice principal had to do CPR.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about like sort of like the Corey Feldman character in Stand By Me, where
Sure.
it's very similar to that, and they think he's like the crazy weirdo.
Well, I'm thinking Cassie, she probably wasn't in the same grade as you when that happened. Like, maybe she just got accelerated this year. And so, like, she's just heard tales of that from a distance and is like, she seems fine, whatever.
She's our friend and she's crazy.
Yeah. Exactly. Seems cool. She's got a rat. It's not a leg.
Is that like a...
It sounded like
It's probably fireworks.
yeah.
Just
it's always just fireworks.
I thought it sounded like a bat
well,
to
it's
a dumpster,
Monday,
but,
so
you know.
obviously fireworks.
Yeah. Why not?
Holiday Monday somewhere. It's time to celebrate. All right. So now it is time for the relationships to the other kids.
Ooh.
So you choose one or make up something for each other kid.
So, Crash, I was going to say, since our parents both work at Dart, we probably know each other because maybe they're friends or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So...
You guys ended up friends by proxy.
Yeah, friends by proxy.
Yeah,
'Cause,
'cause
like,
we-
your parents drag you to, like...
Yeah, we go to the same Tupperware parties.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're here at the kids' table, hi.
Yeah, here we are again.
So have you guys known each other for a long time? Like
Maybe.
from at
Yeah.
little kid age?
Yeah, probably. Because otherwise we wouldn't really have much in common, I would think.
Yeah.
Since you're, like, a sports person and I'm like
Yeah.
total computer person.
Sure.
Yeah, let's say that.
Cool.
Cool.
And so we discussed that, like, Midge probably stepped in when somebody was, like, going after you kind of thing. Is that what we're talking about? Or
Sure, we can do
Or-
that. It could go like the other way, like the.
I
Like,
think-
I stood up for you in sort
Yeah.
of a social
So
situation.
more
and
of
you
a
stood
social
you,
thing?
right, and you
Yeah.
stood up for me. And
it kind of like
the
maybe
more
a has
physical
each
or-
other's backs kind of situation. I have a feeling they're probably connected through music too.
Okay.
Because she likes a lot of older stuff that, you know, they already think she's weird, and on top of that, she likes music from several decades past, which is like so old.
Right.
And that maybe they enjoy like record hunting together.
Cool.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
There's a record store in town.
Sort of like kindred spirits sort of thing.
Always looking for that rare track, that B-side, that.
Yeah.
Even though you keep going to the same record store.
Well,
Like, no, that's the part that's awesome. Those kids would totally do that.
Right.
Like, I got to look through.
just in case there's
Somebody
anything
might have
here.
traded one in. And everybody sort of has different. I think they all have. Yeah, you all have sort of different things on your character sheet, on your archetype page.
Yeah, different
For the
suggestions
different
for things.
relationships. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the suggestions.
Yeah,
definitely.
for Cassie, I was gonna do the thing where she knows everything. Like, Crash is like secretly super impressed with how much she knows. Like, it's actually really cool, but it would be hard for him to actually say that, I think.
Cool.
So if that's all right with you.
Yeah, I like that. And on mine, it has we're different but still friends.
Oh yeah.
And that one's perfect because it's like she doesn't really get any of the sports stuff, but she likes him, and like they've hung out for so long that it's like, yeah, we're friends.
Yeah.
Loyal to each other.
Yeah, that
and
makes
whatnot,
sense.
Even though we don't have much like in common activity wise.
Yeah.
Does Crash have any musical aspirations?
I would say, well, like his love of Prince is kind of a secret
Thinking
Okay.
because it's not like what the other football players listen to.
Right.
So yeah,
My
he's
parents are
secretly
never home,
into like
so-
incredible guitarists like Jimi Hendrix and Prince, and you know, like
Sure.
Okay.
That's
How about, because I sort of feel like
No, right there.
Danny sees you as being very physical,
yeah.
and he keeps trying to convince you to play the drums.
Oh
'cause
man,
he
he'd
needs a
probably be
drummer.
really good at that.
He would,
Yeah.
but
right at the first
but it might not
try.
be,
Yeah.
but it might not be something that you want to do. But that's what he wants you to do.
Yeah, like if you got him to try it, that'd be
Yeah.
really fun to
Okay.
see that. Okay, so Danny's trying to get him
Try
to play
to convince
drums.
you to play drums.
Join
No,
the
I
garage
like
band.
that a lot, actually.
Okay, so we were talking about that maybe our characters are neighbors.
Okay.
Because my parents are basically always working, so they're never home, and your character is looking for like an escape, someplace to get away.
Yeah, because her father is the deputy to the county sheriff, but basically when he's off duty, he's drinking.
So we kind of become friends by like,
It's somewhere to go, like,
Yeah.
you know, sneak out the window and, like, go over there, because...
yeah. And as the
Nobody
weirdo and the computer geek, we're both kind of like the weird outsiders. I'm like, I'm not good with people, but you're kind of weird, and you have a rat, so
So it's okay.
I guess
Everything's
you're
fine.
robot adjacent. It's fine. We can be friends.
That's how it started. It was just, you're sitting in your room on the computer, and then all of a sudden this hand with a rat comes up outside the window.
I imagine maybe you probably saw me, like, sneaking out of the house or something, and, like, that's weird. Maybe I should go see if something's wrong?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's normal.
Yeah, and like I went outside to like ask, hey, do you want to come inside and play computer games?
Mhm. Okay, it's better than listening to my dad drink himself to death.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
computer people.
We got happy there for a moment, and then Max said
Ronald just brought us right back in. Yeah.
Chaos, I am your mistress.
I was 2 weeks from retirement.
Yeah, I'm garbage, guys. That's pretty much my MO. Be garbage.
So, I have an idea for Midge and Crash. In that, it's actually perfect if we're all in 8th grade because all of Crash's friends have gone off to high school, like we were saying. And I imagine Midge ends up sitting alone in the cafeteria a lot.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and Crash is finding himself like, oh, crap. Like, he knows some of the guys who were the year behind him on the football team, but he's not playing football anymore, and that's weird. And, you know, football guys, I'm talking about their feelings. That's a gross stereotype, and I apologize to all of our football player fans.
As we're all looking at archetype
Oh,
pages.
Oh, sorry. Apologies again. I almost think, because remember at that age you have like really stupid ideas about things.
Yeah.
Like maybe they think that your accident is somehow communicable.
Oh,
Like-
yeah,
like-
yeah. It's
the
like a
ones who-
contagious coma, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
For
like,
sure.
like you're
got
jinx
explosive
or something
amnesia.
like that.
Well, and, you know, there's that moment, too. Wait, what'd you say?
He's got explosive amnesia.
Yeah, that's right.
All I can think about is Futurama.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
God damn it.
Max is almost dead.
I refuse to do a spit take.
It was so
refuse.
close. We were so close.
Okay.
But
Damn it.
The game is young. We got lots more time.
But I just imagine a moment of like being at the ostracized table and coming up and be like, so I heard you beat up a kid last year. You know, like that's kind of how we would start a conversation. I don't know how that would go over.
I don't know. We'll find out in the game.
Yeah, okay. But
We'll start as lunchtime companionship.
yeah, lunch table buddies.
So, Sam, I'm trying to figure out something that is a connection for Danny and Cassie.
I would think music probably, because Midge is your like record store buddy, and and you guys kind of nerd out on that together. But your character likes the same type of music mine does, so
Okay.
once she would probably have met you through Midge, maybe.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking, is that Midge might be the connecting thing. They're like, hey, you know, because it seems like this is probably the closest friendship for Midge would be with your character, and be like, hey, I know somebody you would dig.
Yeah, or like maybe when you're at my house, like
Yeah.
I'm listening to music one day, and you're like, oh hey, Danny likes this band too.
Yeah, let's go to the record shop. I'll show you, and you happen to be there or
Yeah.
something.
Cool. And I was also thinking that since you are very tech-oriented, and I have the keytar that
Yeah.
might not always work, and like
Oh,
synth is a
yeah.
big thing right now, and
I could totally
stuff
mod
like
that for you.
Yeah, that I'm like hitting you up to get the sound.
yeah, totally. I love that.
You're going to be the first kid with a portable Moog.
Yes.
Strap it on my back.
Oh my God.
Need to get some of those discs, those magnetic discs for it, so it floats.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
That'd be amazing. These kind of like the questions of like tying our characters together are so fun, because I never would have thought that Crash was learning to play the drums, and like just little stuff like that is like this is really fun.
Well, and it's interesting, because I was wondering how it was going to go down, because this game deals in archetypes. That's the thing, is you think about like Mean Girls or something, and they're like,
Yeah.
this table is this group, this table is that group. So what brings together the really
Yeah.
disparate
Right.
groups into one like team up?
Yeah.
Because usually, like when you think about a lot of '80s movies, like it's usually they're all the outcasts rather
Yeah.
than
Right.
being some of those other archetypes.
Yeah, like
getting
the
along.
Stranger Things boys are all nerds. They're
Yeah.
all D&D nerds. Like none of them also play basketball or something. Like,
Exactly.
There's Steve.
Steve isn't a D&D nerd though.
No,
Right,
but
that's-
he's still part of the group now.
Steve is the group mom.
He's
Okay?
the
Yes,
mom.
and is the best mom. I wish Steve was
love
my
it.
mom.
I did see that somebody edited the Wikipedia entry for the actor to say that he has 4 kids.
Okay, here's the thing that makes me crazy though, is people didn't like him in the first season. They got frustrated, but he was so well written in the first season, and he actually had a redemptive arc. People are like,
Yeah.
I hated him at the end of the first season. I'm like, did you watch the same show
Yeah,
I did?
yeah. I
Yeah.
loved the fact that
Because
there
I
was
like
arc
the fact
and
he
yeah.
went the jerk boyfriend stereotype, and then they had him hook back and go, you know what?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to be this guy.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
really appreciated
Yeah,
that.
and they showed why he made that adjustment. Like he went through some shit.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and that changed him. It was
And I really appreciated seeing something different with that stereotype.
totally.
Yeah, I think his character arc from both seasons are like some of my favorite details of the
Absolutely.
I agree.
show. Yeah.
Really, for me, it's all about Bob the Brain.
Oh,
Like, he
heart.
just...
He was so nice. I'm like, what's wrong with you? You're the evil one.
Yeah.
You're
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, everyone.
Bad guy.
Spoilers.
yeah,
If you
yeah.
haven't seen the second season of Stranger Things
Then
2.
what's wrong with you?
Well, that too.
Get
but
on it. It's on Netflix.
Well,
But yeah, it was.
We'll hook back up with you in about 10 hours. Go.
Yeah, that was a nice surprise, and then a less nice.
I'm not even
always-
talking about what's happened to him. Just as
No.
a character,
Yeah.
he was so awesome.
He was great. I also thought that perhaps he was evil, though. Because
Yeah.
I never trust really nice people.
He was suspiciously nice. Yeah, and you shouldn't. There's been studies on that.
You know, I never got the feeling that he was evil. I just thought he was going to be completely ineffective and
yeah,
clueless.
like useless.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought
Nope,
he was
went right
evil.
for evil.
Yeah.
That's because we're the same person.
Yes. Alternate
We're just-
universe us's.
We're actually just a clone tool. So you came in and
Cold
filmed,
stamp.
you filmed your part first, and now I'm
Yes.
actually here just acting again.
Yeah, there's a green screen.
Yeah. So, or rather, I did it first, and then I'm sitting here doing this now.
You'll never know which one is which.
All right. So that's everybody. That's all the different combinations,
Sorted.
right?
Most. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Now it's relationships with NPCs. So you got to come up with two. They give you 3 choices, but you could come up with something on your own. Also, but before we do that, I'm going to go to the restroom.
Okay.
Okay.
So take a minute, think.
Yeah, let's look at
I
that.
have one, but I need to come up with another one.
Yeah, I don't know what my second one's going to be. The the suggestions in the book are really fun. There's all kinds
Yeah,
of
there's really interesting
like
ones.
several of my teammates are having strange dreams. Like that's weird. Why? What's going on? it's
I
kind of
have
fun.
a similar one to that. Everyone seems to be having nightmares about that horrible teenager, Peter.
Oh yeah, Peter. Every time with that kid.
See, none of these are quite jiving for me, so this is going to be hard.
Yeah, I have one that I just kind of wrote up as the like my former teammates and a bunch of kids think I'm that weird coma kid. So that's like that's one that I'm using for
Oh,
sure.
nice. Yeah.
Actually, wait, I have an idea.
Well, but is that more an NPC thing, or is that more of a... That sounds like more like a problem to me. Like the NPC
Oh yeah,
things
that's
seem
true.
like they want you to connect with, a person or something like that. And part of that, because all the way through the book, there's something about
That's a
adults,
good point.
adults you can trust.
Yeah, I'm gonna
or,
edit this.
Kind of reset some stuff. And I don't know... I'm glad you just came back. I don't know how much...
Yeah, I want to better
you're going to do
understand
this, but a lot of the things in the book, in Tales from the Loop, they do have like specific names and then like a Swedish and then an American translation of that name sort of thing. I don't know if those are like plot point people, and maybe we should take some of those to make it easier for you, or what you're planning on doing.
If you do, that's cool. If you don't want to, that's fine too.
Okay.
Because you don't have to be that tied into whatever plot I come up with.
Okay.
Because I'm actually kind of torn in the book, in the later chapters that I said avoid. There's actually this really cool adventure already kind of done for like the mysteries anyway. And then just today, they released a whole book of mysteries
Ooh,
that just came out.
Oh, cool.
that's fun.
Nice.
Bring your mic up a little bit, because you're unmuted, but there's saying that there's trouble hearing you.
But the NPC thing is supposed to be like the relationship to NPCs in the book area? Is that what's happening? Or?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
But you could make up something else.
Okay, because I want to make up. None of these are really jiving for me. So, as an example, what I'm thinking is maybe one of the Glen Oaks nurses is being suspiciously interested in her mom.
Okay.
Like just
every
doing
time
something
you go
different.
visit,
Yeah, she's just kind of
hanging
like always
around,
kind
or-
of like lurking.
Okay. I like it. Creepy nurse.
So I had one. It is a person in the book, but it was more in the description of the area. I thought since Cassie loves to build
I'm
machines.
unplugged.
Ah,
Oh, no.
okay. Well, that would be why.
Let's
That's-
plug you back
That's
in.
going to be very quiet.
Yeah.
Hello! If I yell really hard, it'll bridge the
Welcome to MTV Unplugged. Dave.
I return!
Hooray!
Huzzah!
Okay, so for Cassie, I was thinking because she loves to build machines and like take machines apart and like try and tinker with stuff, that maybe one of her relationships to NPCs is Billy Pearson, the salvage yard owner.
Okay.
Because maybe she goes there a lot to like get parts for projects and stuff.
Totally makes sense to me, yeah.
Okay.
So, is it a good relationship? Like, you're a good customer? Like, you come by
like
and
she's
you're
probably a
helpful
good
and-
customer, and like
Okay.
if he needs help, like deconstructing stuff, she like helps out and stuff, and maybe he trades her.
Junk it!
Yeah, maybe he trades her. Like she's basically Ray. I've made her Ray by accident. She brings him parts, and then he lets her like take some stuff for free because she
That's
doesn't have a lot of money.
Sure. I just wanted to make sure I was clear on what
Yeah,
relationship.
it's not
It's not like you're the kid
antagonistic.
that's like trying to sneak in and take stuff. Or,
No.
For all that, I will give you a portion of quarter.
Yeah.
And she runs off to the arcade.
Cool. Jason?
I think I want to lift almost whole cloth one of the suggestions here. A scientist named Olivia Martinez came to one of our training sessions and asked the coach if we wanted to take part in some kind of medical experiment, but I could tell she was lying about something. So yeah, some
Sure.
scientist is wanting to
Ooh.
watch track practice like a creeper.
Ooh, that's cool. And you want us to have two?
Yeah, you gotta come up
Okay.
with two.
So, but they don't necessarily have to, they can seem a little more innocuous as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was thinking maybe having a cop that works, like a lower level cop that works with her dad, like, because her dad would have heard all this stuff about her and like the rumors and everything, and it's somebody that he sends to check on her, but not necessarily in like a, well, you go check on my daughter, like, make sure she's not getting into trouble, there's already enough rumors as it is, kind of way.
Okay.
So she's got a tail she's got to dodge sometimes.
Yes.
So I'm probably also going to take these two out of the book here because I think they kind of fit with what I've already set up. One of them is my mom thinks that she's being followed because she's a scientist, but Dad thinks she's going crazy, and I don't know if that is a plot hook that for that, or maybe that's the private detective that he hired because on the verge of their divorce. I don't know, but anyway, that's what's going on as an NPC.
We can find out.
Relationship, yeah. Or we won't. That's the way life is.
Okay.
Do we want to go around again for the other one, or is everyone else already done too?
We went once around,
Yeah.
and
Need
then
to do a
Max jumped in
second
with
one.
her second one. But
Okay.
You're up if you're ready for your second one, man. Go for it.
Sure. The other one I was going to take here, apparently I have an older sister now, and she has joined the wildlife club and has stopped talking to me, and sometimes she sneaks out in the middle of the night.
What a weirdo.
I like
Oh
it.
no, that's Mac.
Also in the game.
But not like a cool sneaking out, like a creepy sneaking out.
So Mac in real life. Like, I know who I am as a person, guys.
I just see.
I am your
plot.
older sister.
Now it's this whole weird plot of
Oh my god.
you have like this whole horde of rats that live in your basement, and you send them out to kill people, and you sneak out the window in
This
the middle
one's
of the
name
night.
is Ben. And I also have Socrates. Smart.
So with these couple of NPCs, if it doesn't already have a name or you don't have a name for them, think about one and let me know. If you have a preference, or if you don't have any preference at all, I'll come up with something.
I already wrote down names.
That's fine.
Okay.
Cool.
I'll get names to you.
Yeah.
I've got Mr. Kingston, one of the guidance counselors. I
All
don't
right.
know if 8th graders have guidance counselors or not, but a dean or something.
There would probably be a counselor, a school counselor.
Yeah, he thinks
Mr. Mackey.
that I need to be in it, like that my reading is low, and well, I mean, secretly Crash doesn't want to admit that he is having trouble reading since the accident, but like Mr. Kingston wants to put him in the lower, like in the remedial reading class, but Crash's parents or these scientists are like, I don't know, he's a smart kid, he doesn't need to do that, and that, because in the 80s people conflate dyslexia with being stupid, which is not the same thing, which was me. So, getting personal.
Learning so much.
Yeah. But the guidance counselor keeps trying to say, like, let's put him in this other class. He'll do really well and get up to speed with reading and all that kind of stuff. But he doesn't want to do that, and so he's he doesn't want to be put in the special class.
Right.
So on top of everything else he's been through.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
I'm going to take this one from the book because I think it's interesting and it's very strange. Everyone seems to be having nightmares about that horrible teenager, Peter.
God damn it, Peter.
I don't know who Peter is, but he's apparently horrible.
He's the worst.
And everybody's dreaming about him.
The best part is that it doesn't define why he's horrible.
Nope.
So that I can just come up with something else.
Anything. Yeah.
Is that glove with the spoons on it?
Yeah.
Peter Kruger.
Nightmare on Maple Street.
Yeah, exactly.
The nightmares are due on Maple Street.
Quick question from Vampire 54. How many
Yes.
planned sessions are there for Tales from the Loop?
I don't have a set number. It's especially with these weeknight games, it's kind of difficult to plot out because you get 2 hours and you're like, sometimes 2 hours is enough that we just sit down and just BS
Yeah.
and nothing happens, and other times we get through a whole mess of material.
Sometimes your players make mini moving animal games within your giant game for 2 hours. Sorry.
Sometimes they play Farmville. Sometimes they make up their own fucking plots that you just have to go with because they decided that the thing that they already did did enough.
Right.
Need to be done more.
It
I
need
get
to be
it.
done,
I
did
get
more.
So I don't have a set number, especially because like I mentioned earlier, I haven't run one of these narrative story games before, so I don't have a real handle on how quickly things will progress. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to be starting until after the new year for actual gameplay, which gives me time to absorb all this information and go back and watch the awesome recording on the internet so that I can get all the notes and come up with a story and figure it all out.
The chat can sense your fears, so you have to come back stronger so that you can put them into place. You know?
Well, I'm not worried because No, I'm not worried about the chat because
I'm just giving you shit.
I love
my
when
favorite.
they come in and they're like, "You did that wrong," and I'm like, "Too late now!" Ha ha!
Too bad, it's done.
Golden rule is best rule.
Yeah.
But well, that's how I said to start all those Savage Roofs games.
Oh, yeah.
Like, here's the list of things I fucked up.
Hey, by the end, that list was very, very small or non-existent.
Right.
It's true.
I got better.
We got the hang of it.
I rarely
Sort of.
made the same mistake more than
Yeah,
once.
find me a DM who doesn't fuck up a rule.
Right.
Like, it happens. Whatever.
Yeah.
But that's what I actually loved
he
about
who was
that.
without rule fuck-ups, roll the first die.
was specifically Erica Odd on the forums. Like she started just on YouTube watching the game, and she literally time-stamped.
Oh,
Like,
all right.
here, this is what was happening. This is what went wrong with the rule, and not in a dickish way, but
Yeah.
in that, like,
No.
I'm just trying to help.
She
yeah.
actually hit it the right
That's the
level where it
important
was
way to
like,
do it.
oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, she's like, oh, this was awesome. Here's a couple of places that I saw rule problems.
Yeah.
And so I could literally just print out her comment and be like, here's what I screwed up, and I'll try and get better. Cool. That's everybody's 2 NPCs.
Yay.
So, now we can talk about the anchor. So the thing about the anchor is they are the touchstone person for your character. So in the game, one of the first rules in the game is none of you can die. This isn't a game where your kid is in peril of death. But you get conditions. And the conditions are upset, scared, exhausted, or injured.
Okay.
And when you get those conditions, if you get all 4, you're called broken and you're just out of the scene for whatever reason. You're knocked out, or you ran away, or something. You're just not
having a
involved
moment.
anymore.
Yeah.
But to clear those conditions and get better, you can spend some time with your anchor person. So
Okay.
it's that adult that always makes you feel safe, like a mom or dad, or even like an uncle or older sibling or something. I know we talked a little bit.
Yeah, this is the one I'm struggling with a little bit, just trying to find the right connection that makes sense.
Yeah.
In the rocker, I was thinking of taking the guy at the music store, but that might work really well for the way we've done the background for you.
It might
Yes.
not be bad. I'm also thinking there could be somebody. She rides her bike out to visit her mom, so there could be another person there that's like it's assisted living. And there's different levels, but there might be someone who's a little more aware and happy for company as well. Because a lot of times, she also had a daughter, but doesn't visit her or anything, and so it becomes sort of like a surrogate.
Oh, okay.
Thing.
That would totally, yeah,
Yeah, that could be cool.
absolutely.
And they kind of that would be sort of them helping each other, which would be kind of nice too.
Yeah, that's good.
Mine is going to be science teacher.
Okay.
Because I figure, her parents aren't really around, but she needs an adult that, understands kind of her drives and what she's interested in, and that she can, talk to about her projects, and that's kind of the way she, recharges and regenerates, is,
Totally.
by talking about technology and whatever she's working on.
That works for me. Do you have an idea, Nick?
I actually, since Max sounds like she has a better idea, I do want to take the guy at the music store.
Sure.
I think
Which
that's a better fit for you.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I
But
appreciate it though.
yeah, I just, if you said you were having trouble, I just wanted to, because it seemed like a really good fit kind of for what you're talking about. And I kind of am envisioning him as a cross between Jack Black in High Fidelity and Jack Black in School of Rock. So in your mind, if you want to cast him that way, that's what I'm thinking.
That works for me. Totally.
What's everyone else's anchor? So music store.
Music store owner
Yeah.
guy, kindly older person at the assisted living place where her mom is,
Okay.
but isn't her mom, just
Right.
somebody else there that she's kind of made friends with. 'cause
A
she
more
visits
lucid
often.
patient.
Exactly, and one that her daughter doesn't visit, and so she
yeah.
has become sort of attached to Midge.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And then
And
science teacher.
A science teacher. Okay. I was thinking the anchor for Crash might be the track coach, who had been trying to get Crash to run track for, well, even as I don't know, you can't really say years in middle school, but, instead of doing track, Crash would do spring training for football, and then summer football, and then football in the fall.
Sure.
And so now he's finally running track, and the coach has actually been really supportive of trying to integrate him into the team and all that.
Nice.
Absolutely. Then it is time for names. But everybody has one.
Dun dun dun.
We did that already, yeah.
Yeah, so we're ahead.
Head of the curve.
Nailed
Look
it.
at that. And then favorite songs. Let's go over them one more time because we already mentioned a little bit, but
I picked because I'll go first because it's probably more depressing than the rest. I picked "I Fall to Pieces" by Patsy Cline.
Great song.
Whew, okay.
Everybody else know.
That's such a great
Step
song, though.
wheelchairs. And mine is Our Friends Electric by Gary Newman.
Nice. Going with Little Red Corvette,
perfect.
Prince.
I was probably going to do Dead Man's Party, but I don't think that is actually until 1984, so I will find an earlier Oingo Boingo song that is his music.
Well, if that jives with your brain, I'm still fine.
Don't worry, I have all of their albums. That's the autobiographical part. Is I'm a giant Oingo Boingo fan, so I thought it would work well for this.
We're so carpooling one of these nights because I have all the Oingo Boingo on my phone.
Yes.
We should all three carpool.
Yeah.
We can get Sam on the way.
Yeah, I've got the Dead Man's Party is on my Shampacalypse playlist.
I just have their CD of the concert I went to. Because I was like, I'm in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Did you hear me?
I'm
yelling.
That's
Yes,
awesome.
so I'm somewhere in the farewell concert.
That's
CD.
the one I went to. Yeah.
Right, so I have a copy of that. My favorite song of theirs is one that's a little more offbeat. I really like It Only Makes Me Laugh.
That's good. I really like We Close Our Eyes and
That's
Just
good.
Another Day are probably my two
Ooh,
actual
I do like
favorites.
Just
Yeah.
Another Day, yeah.
I like Insects.
That's good. I mean, they're all good, and then you get
Yeah.
stuff that's heavy like Mary, where it's just like, ah!
Oh yeah,
That whole album, though, is very
it's
heavy.
very dark. And,
It's so good.
Yeah.
Keep using that word.
Is there something wrong with this?
Game already? Teenagers?
Yeah.
I've been putting in all kinds of shitty references, and I have a Marty, but he's from another planet, and the formal greeting of respect to everybody is calling everyone Doc.
Nice.
So I keep having him go, "This is heavy," and the other players gave him the last name McNotfly.
McNotfly.
Because they expected him to be a fly person. So he's Marty McNotfly.
I love it. That's
I
awesome.
love it.
And then the things
He's
that we
pretty
need.
not fly for a space guy.
Oh, wow.
We've,
You were
Big,
nailing the
huge
dad
manatee.
jokes today.
we've seen better.
So now the next thing we need to do is figure out what your hideout is. What's
Right.
Ooh, okay.
the place that you guys all have together?
Danny's garage.
I have a suggestion. Because one of the things that I noticed when we were all talking that's connected all of our characters is actually music. Maybe it's the back room of the record shop.
That could be.
Oh, yeah.
Just throwing it out there, because music came up for every single character.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I can do with that. We have a band, but it's really just
It's you
out
trying to
talking.
get us all
Yes,
to be
it's you
in your
trying to
band.
in the band. I should see, like, Mom, I got band practice. Bye.
Well, Stallions rules.
Forever.
So, mechanically speaking, the deal with the hideout is whenever you guys want to set up a scene in the hideout, I can't bring an NPC into the scene unless
Okay.
you show them how to get there.
Okay.
So if
Oh,
you
okay.
go with the back room of the record
Oh.
shop, then the record shop guy can get there,
Okay.
like, because it's his shop. Like,
Sure.
it doesn't make
Sure.
sense that unless you've like, you could even have built like a pile of boxes into like a little cubby hole in the back of the storage room. That's kind of your space, so he doesn't really come back there unless you call for him or something.
So
that's fine.
maybe like the sort of warehouse area, and we've just pushed all the back, the box.
Yeah,
Like there's a little
Yeah.
Yeah, like you kind of go
Cubby
through a
hole
little
in there.
labyrinth of boxes, and then you've got like an
Right,
old
our
couch.
space
And,
that's- yeah.
So we have a box fort in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
music shop.
Top notch.
Yes. I love
like
it.
that. And then the idea is that you can also help each other clear conditions if you go and spend time together in the hideout.
Cool.
Because you can kind of comfort each other or stick a Band-Aid on somebody or
right.
Yeah.
whatever, that kind of deal. And I also, no matter what happens, I can't make you experience trouble in the hideout. But you can bring trouble yourself.
Ah, yes. Okay.
So if you make a choice that leads into something, that can happen. But I can't be like, oh, you guys are all in the hideout and you're all comforting each other and feeling better about the horrible thing you just saw. And the boxes are on fire. I can't.
But we
Yeah.
could set the boxes on
You
fire.
could absolutely light the boxes on fire.
Boy, howdy.
Maybe don't.
All right.
Oh, maybe don't, sons, and maybe do.
So the last little bit here is that I have a couple of questions
All
to
right.
ask.
This is the test portion.
Right.
I'm not prepared.
Ooh, I'm good at tests.
I hope you know these questions will go down in your permanent
yes.
record.
So the first thing, some of these questions we've already answered because we've kind of talked some things out as we've been going. But the first question I want to ask of everybody is, what does your room look like?
I'm going to be autobiographical again, and it is a disaster. It's a wreck. There's stuff flung all over the place. It's very chaotic, and Danny keeps it that way because even though it looks like there's no sense of order, he can always tell if someone's been in his room because the mess isn't in the same place that it was when he left
It's
it.
a different mess.
Okay. Anybody else?
I think Crash's room might be the opposite. That like obsessively neat. I don't think he's actually OCD, but like he's got a bunk bed. I mean, he's the only child, but like he's got a bunk bed and then a desk, and his shoes are all like lined up perfectly, and you know, it's like he might have some papers and stuff on his desk, right, and stuff laid out, but
Sure.
other than that,
Things are all where they should be.
yeah, like there's pencils in the cup, and then there's stuff's hanging up in the closet, and that kind of thing.
That works.
I think mine is probably more along the lines of Danny's room, organized chaos, where like just a bystander coming in would think it was a mess, but it's actually a well
probably
organized
a fire hazard.
and probably a fire hazard, but it's actually a well organized system of
Yeah.
organization.
You know where everything
but just
is.
you don't understand.
I get it.
So it's cluttered with
Like a bunch of half-done projects.
yeah, like desk with my computer and half-done projects, and then parts for all different projects and drawers and stuff, and like the bed is like over there, and then on the walls would be like promo posters for computers that her parents probably brought home, and like space pictures of like rocket ships and whatnot.
It's at that point, it's got to be like the space shuttle.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
all over the
Yeah,
place.
it's definitely like NASA and computers and yes.
Totally.
Why I'm such a broken person that comes up with the worst possible things. And I feel bad for thinking horrible thoughts. Her bedroom looks like it's for a much younger kid than she is. That it was decorated when she was younger by her mom. It's a lot of like pink and unicorns and frills, and she's never actually changed it for multiple reasons. One is her dad just doesn't get it and really isn't going to go. It's like, well, you have a bed, you have sheets, they're functional, so I don't understand why you need something else. And also just because it reminds her of her mom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly where I went.
Yeah.
And Max crying break. Everyone take one.
Every
never
time I
goes
make the
last.
cat cry, they have to pay me money. Is that how that works? I don't know.
It's like this weird, instead of the parent who like doesn't let the kid's room change at all, you don't change the room because your mom's gone for the same reason.
Well, and also her dad is like, if it's
He doesn't
functional,
get it.
why
Yeah.
replace it? Yeah. So when we played the first actual session, I prefer rye whiskey, guys. Just FYI, you can send it to Happy Jacks, and I will drink it.
Have you had Koval, by the way? It's a small distillery in Chicago that makes a fantastic rye.
No.
All right, I'll see about getting you a bottle or introducing you to that.
Yes, I would like to become intimate friends with it.
I need an adult.
All right. Let's say, how about what makes you angry?
Bullies.
No. I almost said the same thing.
Ha.
I'm going to say Crash's lost year is like repeating the school year. Not, like he doesn't hate all the kids in 8th grade, but like he's frustrated by it.
Yeah, sort of in that vein. I think it's Danny's family life. Like he's angry. He probably isn't even sure why he's angry about the divorce, but I think that his coping mechanism is just anger about it whenever the topic comes up, and he doesn't understand why they can't just be a family.
Sure. Do you blame one parent over the other?
I almost feel that he doesn't even... He checks out so fast whenever the conversation comes up that I don't think that he is fully aware of what is going on with it or why it's happening.
That's
Just the moment that the topic comes up, he can't wait to get out of that conversation or discussion.
Deflection and denial work.
Yeah.
sure.
As long as you keep deflecting, keep denying.
Yeah.
I get it.
For Cassie, I'm going to go with what makes her angry is failure, or when she can't figure something out. She's probably really hard on herself because like she's always trying to get like achieve
Perfectionism.
something really awesome so that her parents will notice her, and like get some reward out of like everything that she's doing. So it's probably like, yeah, if she can't figure something out, she prides herself on being able to like suss out like anything. So if she can't figure it out or gets frustrated, that's what makes her angry.
Is it frustrating at all, since we're fairly close, that Crash's parents are just constantly on his side? They're like, he's the best, he can do no wrong, when he doesn't do he like screws up all the time. He's like doesn't do his homework sometimes. Like, is that? Do you think that's?
It's probably less a sense of like envy for her and more like she doesn't hold that against you.
Oh, okay.
She probably like sees what you have and is like, God, I wish my parents were like that. Like, and then that makes her mad at them for being shitty.
Okay. Cool.
I think we all wish Crash's parents were our parents.
Yeah, secretly, she probably wishes your parents were her parents.
Crash is winning at parents.
Yeah, he did all right in that department. That's where he did well.
All right.
I feel like it's also worth. I don't know where else this would come up, but Crash is biracial. Like, his dad is black and his mom's white, so that's just worth noting about him, that he's not just white. So.
That wouldn't have been a question that I asked. But
but it's just, I think, as I'm picturing the parents, like, it seemed worth noting. If we're talking about the parents, that's what they look like.
That totally works for me. Let's see. Kind of off the wall, but what's the furthest you have traveled from home?
Are there, like, dart conferences?
There's probably, like, the scientists probably sometimes have to go off to Washington to make reports and such.
Would they ever go to Sweden, like, to interloop?
Maybe. There's absolutely every reason why that could happen.
I don't know the layout of this worldscape.
Okay.
So I'm not entirely sure how to answer that.
Is it too early in the 80s for space camp?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not in the world of the loop.
Cassie's going to space camp because her parents don't have time for her. They're shipping her off.
Dude. I so would have punched Cassie in the face for going to space camp.
Yeah.
I know, we're all secretly seething.
Same.
Holy crap. Even that crappy movie was not enough to turn me off of the idea of going to space camp.
Well, I think, isn't this is the Hoover Dam?
Yeah.
So we're right at...
And Vegas is like 20 miles this way, like Nick direction.
Yeah, because I don't think she's gone very far. I think maybe
And
they
that's
would have had like a
okay.
family vacation like at the beach, and that probably would have been like it. But they really haven't had the impetus to go anywhere since then.
So, like, you at some point took a family vacation to, like, the LA area to go to the ocean?
Maybe, yeah. Went out to the beach in the sunshine. They're like, this is the one time they're like, let's get away from like when it's going to be snowy and cold. And I think that's probably the farthest she's been.
That works.
Cool.
And
Danny had a family vacation before things got bad that was in Hawaii.
okay.
Nice.
And that might have been, I think, right when stuff started to go bad, and that was sort of a, hey, let's do this big extravagant
We're going to be a family.
thing, and it kind of backfired.
Some parents try and have another kid.
Yeah.
Some parents go on a big vacation.
Yeah.
That works. So your parents took you
I
to Sweden?
think like when he was 8 or 9,
Okay.
they had to go to Sweden, and they were like, let's all go. It's a family thing. Like, just going along with Crash's charmed home life.
I like it.
That totally works.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't go all through Europe, but they did get to go to Sweden and,
Yeah.
do
That's
that
still
That's
neat.
pretty cool.
yeah.
Cassie probably asks you questions about it all the time.
I think he would have been pretty excited to talk about it, too, especially, like, as an 8-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're like,
oh, yeah.
just verbal run at the mouth.
Yeah, I was thinking Danny's probably asking you questions about L.A. and
Oh,
Hollywood and
yeah.
all that stuff. Like, oh, yeah. Did you go to any of the clubs?
As a 12-year-old.
I think she'd probably be really cagey about answering questions about that, though.
Fair enough.
Would she just make shit up?
think she just might be. She just might shut down.
Yeah, the Troubadour's huge. It's
Yeah.
just
It was
3 stories, and it has this basement. That's incredible.
Right.
They didn't even card me.
And then I've got one more question for you, Nick, because I
Yeah.
don't think it's come up. What do your parents do for work?
My mother is a scientist. I don't know what my dad does yet.
Okay.
But I'll send you something in Slack after I think about it a little bit.
That's fine, too. Yeah. Because I knew everybody else's parents' professions, but I didn't know yours. All right. Now,
Cool.
a couple of group questions.
Oh, apparently Cyber Everything says Space Camp started in 1982, so not only did you,
You
get
are
to
an
go,
inaugural
you just
member.
got to go.
Your inaugural class.
Yeah.
Your parents might have been one of the few things your parents did was like hook you up with like getting to be the first.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
third
Well,
person
they
thing.
don't. They kind of try to make up for not having time for her by like buying her computer stuff,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
spending
yeah,
her,
yeah.
sending her to space camp, and like
You've done, like, all of those campy activities.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah,
you
exactly.
got to be like the
Things.
first kid to go to the very first round of the very first space camp.
yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, but she still just kind of wants it.
But I just want my parents to
Just
love
want
me.
their love.
However awesome that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go with what makes you laugh? We kind of did the individual questions as group questions anyway, but yeah. But we'll do these because some of them are
This is
interesting.
individual.
No, this is a group
Oh, group?
question. It's not what makes you as a group laugh, but
Oh, okay.
it's supposed to be like I'm supposed to have like a couple of interview questions
Yeah.
with each of you individually.
Oh, I
kind of
see.
thing.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Look, I just really need this job.
So, what do you think your greatest weaknesses are?
That I care too much.
Yeah.
I want to do a
Get
really
really
good
absorbed
job.
in working.
Some people say I work too much.
Classic.
I sort of feel like the next job interview, I'm just going to give him the, what would you say your greatest week is? Putting up with bullshit interview questions that don't mean anything. Let's be honest here.
I really like where your shirt folded says Rowenties.
It does.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Row, row, row your empties.
What makes her laugh? I think the gal who's her anchor, I've decided is Norma, has like a lot of really great stories.
All
And
right.
so she's always telling her like these stories of like, I think Norma was like a very traveled person and like traveled the world with her husband, and they have like all these like adventure stories and like all this shit they got into while they were traveling the world.
That's awesome. Is Norma kind of why you got into classic music? Like,
I think so.
Partly.
Like when I start thinking about it, that I feel like Norma would have been from that era and been like, oh, but you haven't heard this, you know, and like, you know, like puts on records for her in the room and that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
very cool.
It's funny when you first asked, I suddenly pictured the characters like gathered around a little shitty TV in the back of the record store watching, you know, early '80s movies, laughing about something. I don't know what that would be, but like everybody watching a movie and like Midge laughs at exactly the wrong time, and then everyone's laughing at that sort of awkwardly. And, I don't know. I have to think about this one. It's a fun question.
The rat ate his face.
Yeah. Oh boy. Like we're watching Friday the 13th, and Midge is just like
That was
cracking
yeah.
up. Yeah.
That is way too autobiographical.
That was absolutely my experience as a teenager. Was going to the video store and renting VHS tapes for $0.25 and watching like their entire horror section to just take
Oh,
it
yeah.
home and laugh.
Yeah.
I used to work at a Blockbuster.
I used to manage a Blockbuster.
I was a manager for a little while too. That was the whole thing. It was garbage. But yeah, it was that same thing. It's just like, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna rent it.
I'm thinking because Cassie is the youngest one, she's only 12, that maybe what makes her laugh is that she still watches cartoons. like, I mean, all kids watch cartoons, but like, she loves cartoons. Like, people think she's so smart and she's a little advanced for her age, so people think of her as older than she is, but she's actually like eating cereal, watching Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Like, still, that part of her still much
Totally.
a kid. So, slapstick cartoon humor.
Now I can see somebody's going to step on a rake.
And Cassie's just going to lose it.
She's gonna lose her mind.
She set out the rake and she's behind the bushes.
I hope so. I hope
That's
so.
a robot that would go and set out the rake.
The rake is a robot.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a
It just
rake.
rolls around.
Rake
Reset.
Or that's how you're testing the robots. You're trying to,
You set up a Looney
Like,
Tunes obstacle
Obstacle
course.
course.
I feel like what happened is you saw someone actually step on a rake and like get seriously messed up.
So I set up
So
an
you set up the
experiment.
robots
Yeah.
to go do
Your
it.
first, your robot line is Acme 1, Acme 2.
Yeah, exactly.
100%, yes.
I don't know. I'm kind of like, I kind of feel like there's probably some obscure musical thing that would probably be like, oh, he can't tell something from whatever, but I'm not that musical, so I don't know anything
You're early hipster.
that would do that. So I'm kind of thinking like,
Proto hipster.
I'm kind of thinking like maybe, knock knock jokes or some bad thing like that. Like, he just thinks they're really funny.
All right.
It could be maybe because, if you have a strong relationship with one parent or the other, sometimes you appreciate things about them when, like, divorce is happening. It could be your dad tells, like, the best, worst dad jokes.
Oh, okay. Maybe. That'll also be easy for me to play because, I must have an army of bastards out there somewhere. That's all I got to say. The dad jokes that I tell. So, yeah, I'll probably go with that.
That works.
Dad jokes or
Cool
bad
with me.
jokes. Or
I think Crash has gotten a hold of a couple good like comedy cassettes, like Eddie Murphy and Robin
Or
Williams.
some
and-
not
Oh,
okay
nice.
for
yeah,
kids.
yeah, like definitely inappropriate. And so also that means he is occasionally not great with the line of like what's appropriate to joke about, not like absolute the grossest stuff, but like he's like there's a bunch of it he doesn't even really understand. He just pretends that he understands.
Sure.
Parroting it back.
Yeah. And he
Richard
doesn't
Pryor.
realize that something's offensive, and things like that. And I think it makes him laugh partly because he's sort of thinking like, oh, this is supposed to be funny. I'm going to laugh like a grown up. Yeah.
Cocaine.
Yeah, exactly. He's never like his parents don't do drugs. Like his parents are such straight arrows. Like there's
Yeah.
no.
telling Richard Pryor jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Light yourself on fire.
Yeah, like it's.
Oh.
Yeah, he's trying.
All right. Who wants to be in the gang?
As in someone who's not one of the four of us, like an NPC that we're naming.
Oh.
Somebody that wants to kind of hang out with you guys.
I
So
want
here's-
Waffles to be officially recognized as a member of this gang.
That's a slam dunk.
Yeah.
Okay, I
of
just
course.
want to double check.
Obviously,
Does
yeah.
anybody have siblings? I forget.
I have an older sister. I was just about to ask if anyone else had.
I'm going with only child.
I did too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay.
It's the only.
So we can't go with the kid, the kid brother, kid
no
sister
kid
route.
brothers, yeah.
Yeah, your older sister probably doesn't want to hang out with us.
No, especially since that's one of the troubles is that she's stopped talking to me.
Yeah.
She joined the wildlife league
yeah.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll figure out a story there. But,
Well, there could be an option of a kid that I was a 7th grader last year, and we played football together, and now he's an 8th grader, and he looked up to me and was like, "Hey, let's be friends." And I don't know. No.
You're calling Creevy.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's. But no, we can do something else too.
It'd be funny if it was one of the parents that was like trying really hard to be like, "Hey guys, I'm one of those cool parents. I want to hang out with your gang."
Yeah.
I'm like those other moms.
Oh, can
I'm
I
a
come
cool
to band
mom.
practice? I'd love to hear you guys play.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a kid that sort of ran into us at the music store at the record
and like
store.
wants to be in the
Yeah.
band.
He, like hangs out and
Keep seeing us go into the back room, like, wait, guys,
Hey,
what are you doing
what are
back
you
there?
guys doing?
Yeah. I think that's probably most likely because Cassie's like she probably doesn't talk to many people outside of you guys.
Do you work at the record store?
Well, I'm only 13, so probably not. No.
It's the 80s, dude.
Yeah, I thought even the
still.
80s,
Yeah, that's
like
true, yeah.
14 was like
You would
the,
maybe get odd jobs, I would imagine, getting paid under the table or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or paper routes. I had a
Yeah.
paper
Mowing
route.
a lawn
Yeah.
in the neighbor, going around on Saturday morning with Dad's lawnmower.
Well, I think that the music guy, might
Oh, yeah,
might do
he'd
stuff like
Totally,
you know,
be like, hey, I don't
so-
want to carry
right.
all these boxes.
right. Since he's my anchor, he's like, hey, I'll give you $3 if you unload the truck.
$3.
Whoa.
I know. 80s money.
That's like $17,000. Holy shit! You can buy a car.
God, this economy.
Well,
Oh, so chat suggests that the horrible teenager, or I'm sorry, Boo Day suggests that horrible teenager Pete, and Gen Human says same thing. The weird kid.
oh, the
Oh.
one.
That's the one everybody's
Right.
having nightmares about.
Yeah.
Wants to be in our gang. Oh,
I
that's
love
kind of
that.
awful.
I
and
love it.
awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
If you want
Slam
that to be a
dunk.
thing,
Awesome,
all right.
guys.
Yeah.
Horrible
Nailed it,
Peter.
chat.
Horrible Peter. He's got to be a much more major character than I was expecting.
Horrible Peter. That's what they call
That's
me.
probably what we call him too. Not to his face.
Yeah.
Although I would go with alliteration.
Oh God,
Maybe it's like,
HP was following me for like an hour before I could get to the record store, guys. I'm sorry I'm late.
Yeah.
see, I was gonna go like alliteration route and call him Pervy Peter.
Oh, is that why he's horrible? Like he's super creepy like that?
Maybe. I don't
Maybe.
know. What was it, George? Bird watching?
Yeah. Yep.
This is my night for Back to the Future and Jurassic Park, apparently.
And then let's see.
That's actually great, guys. I really.
Yeah,
that's
I really like that.
When my husband wants to really weird me out, he'll turn around and go, "What, Lorraine? What?"
I like
and,
that.
and somehow he's still alive.
It's impressive.
I admire this.
Who is in love with whom?
Is it among the group or?
In general,
I'm okay with it being extra group or intra-group. And it doesn't have to be something obvious. It can absolutely be the like, wow.
The little awkward crush thing.
Or it could totally be one of you is like actually likes Horrible Peter.
It's like stringing him along.
No, like you really like Horrible Peter, and the rest of the group is like, oh God, that guy's horrible.
and that person's like, yeah,
Oh,
horrible
yeah.
Peter, yeah. Sad face.
That's why you keep like leaving notes for Peter, like, hey, we're all going to be hanging out at the arcade.
Oh.
And the rest of the group is like, God, Peter is always wherever we show up. Why?
I think Cassie probably has a space camp boyfriend that everyone thinks is fake.
Yes,
She
please.
writes letters
Yes,
to,
please.
and no one believes her.
He lives in Canada.
Yeah, he lives in Canada.
He actually does. Yeah.
But he for real lives in Canada.
So I think Danny probably has a crush on one of his sister's friends, to be named.
All right.
This is only if you're okay with it, and it popped into my head. The fact that Danny was like the only one that's been really nice to Midge, and when you're a kid, you don't always know the difference between the friendship thing. I think that Midge is like beginning to think that maybe like Danny would be someone that she's like into. Kind of
Okay.
like he's really nice to me, and we have the same interests, but wouldn't actually ever say anything. Like she wouldn't like actually tell him.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
And I think she's also trying to hook Norma up with one of the other eligible old people bachelors that's living.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
There's a whole other game. That's like,
Yeah.
That's my
this game is going to happen, and then we're just going to do like
The mini
sidebar games.
Midge with Norma.
Like on a Wednesday where Razor Ridge can't run, we'll just show up and play the Midge game. Midge at the assisted living.
Tales from the Loop, Midge. Just like, Norma, it's been a while. Like, it's cool. I'm sure he's totally into you.
So, legitimately, my mom's side of the family was McCoys, like descended from the actual like Hatfield and McCoy.
Oh, wow.
I was going to say
McCoy.
Hatfield McCoys, right?
My grandfather went into an assisted living place before he died, and one of the women that lived there was a Hatfield,
Wow.
and it turned into the most hilarious shit ever. He would like go by and steal the tennis balls off her walker. She knit a whole like giant thing that covered his door so he couldn't get out. It just was this feud that went on the whole time he lived
Epic.
there. It was
That's
hilarious.
beautiful.
It was great.
Yeah, I was actually thinking the
Should've been
bookends of
season 2 of Hatfields and McCoys.
Yeah, I was thinking about the bookends of the novel for Green Mile has a lot of discussions about that because he's in a retirement home.
Oh,
And it being Stephen King, he's like, yeah, we're old, but we're still fucking, basically.
that's
Which is fucking true.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
It's the whole
especially
thing.
now.
Yeah.
Pharmaceuticals have changed the world.
Well, and, even
Thanks, science.
Parks and Recs, they're going
Get
in.
out
They
of
have an
here.
episode, and they're going into the retirement home to talk to them about like STDs.
Yeah.
And people laugh, but it's a fucking concern.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But because they're old, they're like, doesn't matter anymore.
Yep.
Bring on the chlamydia.
Right.
Syphilis isn't going to get me before cancer.
Old people and penguins.
Oh god.
Yeah.
So
No.
Jen Human suggests, you want Crash to have a crush on Midge and have the teen
Oh no!
I was thinking about possibly that situation, or that Crash was into one of the cheerleaders who went up to high school, and now that's sort of the boat
You
that's sailed.
pine for the lost
Yeah, that-
possibilities
Oh, that's so sad.
of being a star football player
Right.
with the cheerleader.
Right, and like it as going up as a freshman, there was every indication he would have been a freshman on the varsity team. Like he was really good at football. So it's a major loss. So that would just compound the whole thing, which is
Poor guy.
not as dark as some people's stories. But
Max, you're going amateur.
yeah, right. I'm trying.
Here I am with my French Canadian space camp boyfriend. That everyone-
He's French Canadian.
His name is Francois.
I wish you could meet my boyfriend. My boyfriend who lives in Canada.
Yeah, the Francois sounds even more fake.
I know. That's
It's
why
so made up.
I know.
It's amazing.
That's beautiful.
You have all these pictures. They look like stock photography, but they're not. They're just.
Right.
It's totally this French kid with a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Just
And a beret. And a baguette.
He likes berets and bread.
and stripy shirts.
Yeah.
All right, last question. Who is the leader?
Oh, that's a good question.
I think
Does anybody have lead as
I do, because I
skill?
kind of think that
I feel like Danny's sort of the cool
Yeah.
kid
yeah.
of our group.
He's
Well,
the cool kid.
The relative.
And he's the one who wants everyone to be a band, and
Yeah.
of course he wants to be the front man of the band.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's like the leader as he's trying to
Yeah,
do that.
that
Yeah,
totally
totally.
makes sense. I like
Yeah,
it.
because like Crash was never the quarterback of the football team. He wasn't that guy, and that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I
to
think
me.
Danny's the one that makes sense.
All right,
Yeah.
that works for me.
Cool.
Oh shoot! Does anyone remember what I said for anchor?
Your coach.
Track coach.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
Coach.
Yeah,
Coach.
That helped you feel like part of the team.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't name my science teacher. Should I do that, or do you want to name them?
It's up to you.
Okay.
If you feel the desire to name them, great. Slack it to me. That's
I give
fine.
names to everything.
If you don't, and I don't hear from you, then I come up with something.
Okay.
It's all
Easy.
good. That's the glorious part about the way this schedule has worked out. Is
Oh yeah.
doing character creation and all this stuff now. I now have weeks
Yep.
before the next session
Yeah, 'cause
over
we're
the
back in
holidays.
January,
Talk about
right?
all these
Yeah.
NPCs
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
I think the 7th of January is
Yeah.
when we'll come back. So
Yeah.
I've got lots of time to sit down and go, okay, cool, I can
I
take
can-
what's here in the book and figure out what you guys picked and all that stuff. Figure out why your sister leaves in the night.
Right. Why someone's following my mom? If someone's following my mom?
Is it? Is it not? Is it your sister? Like,
Your sister's following your mom. They're the same person. What?
No,
Oh,
we're not in Alabama.
that got complicated real quick.
very cool.
Status, it's complicated.
So, do any of you have any questions before we wrap up?
I'm actually really looking forward to playing this. Can
Yeah.
we just do that right now?
Let's just cancel tomorrow and play through.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
We are at 10:10 though, so probably not.
Yeah, I
The
think my,
Adventures of Tintin.
my
Yeah.
students may expect me to show up to class tomorrow.
I'll probably have
Lame.
questions
I
once
know.
we start.
Rin
but
10:10?
That's fine.
right
Rin
now, I'm
10:10.
just really excited.
And like I said, this is the first time for me with this system and everything, so we'll play it by ear. You know, we'll figure it out as we go, and it shouldn't be. It's simple enough that I'm worried that I'm missing something. Like that's my
What's
fear.
the catch?
Yeah, it's the weirdness of like I think I really get this. Like,
Yeah.
I think, and then I'm like, it's got to be. Did 2 pages stick together? Did I miss
Yeah,
something
yeah. How
critically
can I be
important?
this
Like,
sure?
oh,
Yeah.
The warnings come after the spells.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the one last thing. With all the skills and stuff, when you go to make a roll, if you get more than 1 success, you get to add bonus effects
Oh,
to
cool.
your
Oh,
success.
cool.
So there is a mechanical reason why you might want more than one. Like, and it actually has sort of a list of different bonus effects you could get for each skill that I have.
Neat.
So, like, if you're trying to sneak and you get 2 successes, you could pick give a success to another kid, like you're helping them sneak along with you,
That's helpful.
or you find something unexpected.
Neat.
Or, you know, there's some of them have a lot, like tinkering and programming. You could you do it quickly, or you do it quietly, or you show off.
You accidentally set off the nuclear.
Ooh, what's this do? Oops.
Well, yeah, that's sort of the Mr. Scott from The Voyage Home, right? Like
Yeah.
the computers, how quaint.
Yeah.
And like he obviously got an
Hello,
extra success, and he
computer.
just goes nuts on the keyboard and like figures out how to use a keyboard to draw diagrams, like on the fly, like that kind of a deal.
I have to say the hardest part for me is having this book and not being able to go past chapter 5. Like, you don't know what a daily effort of will that is for me to be like, I have this book.
Just look at the pictures.
No, I know me.
Like,
I mean, the art is fantastic
Yeah, yeah.
in the book.
Actually, the art is gorgeous.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, check it out.
Definitely.
just
there's
for
also, I think they made a coffee table book of the art. I think I saw
think
that
so.
somewhere. Or I just made that up in my brain because I want it to be true.
Well, if they haven't, they should.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I found this because I had backed a Kickstarter for a board game based entirely on the art. There's a Polish guy named Jacob something that did all this sort of diesel punk artwork of
Yeah,
like
it's really cool.
World War I Europe with like giant mechs that are powered by
right.
like fuel, like oil.
Yeah, sweet.
Stuff like that. And that board game was called Scythe. And then a friend that knew that I'd gotten that was like, dude, you got to check out this game because the art is amazing in a similar kind of way of like
Sweet.
the
So you're a dealer.
yeah.
Hey man, you like that? You like that? I got something else you like.
But the first one's never free. If I could get a free one, that'd be amazing. But no,
In this economy?
come on. But in the 80s, oh yeah. Little 80s fun fact, the cosmetic mirror in the Ferrari Testarossa was removable.
Oh, you could take it with you?
So you could pull it out and look at yourself anywhere you want, or do other activities
Or
that might require a mirror in the 1980s if you had a Ferrari.
Right.
Now I get it.
Let's see. We'll
It's funny, you went to take it with you, and I immediately went to, yes, drug.
I don't know, but it's awfully small to put on the ceiling.
But anyway, thanks for joining us, everybody. We look forward to seeing you in the new year.
Yay!
With Tales from the Loop and our crazy adventures to see where we end up.
Huzzah.
See you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye!